All right. And we are live. The last word with Lord Cognito, Ebontis, and Ty Guy Travis. Fresh on that Thursday evening campfire. Hot TWAB. What's going on, E? How we doing, sir?
Doing good. I got my booster. So just, if you guys see me doing this throughout the show, it's just me trying to work out the shoulder, make sure I can get it flowing there. No, I got a new monitor. It's 4K. 144 hertz, so it's HDMI 2.1. So I wanted the HDMI 2.0. I wanted the 4K for consoles, so I could go 4K 60. But I wanted 144, so I could do 1440 like high refresh and kind of cap that one out. And HDR and the variable refresh rate. Like I played VOG. Like I got some help to do VOG runs. I jumped in there and just like wherever I turn this thing on, I'm like, it looks like a different game.
See, now you understand what the console plebs is trying to tell you.
I fully got what you did, but I'm just like, no, like it's like the HDR and the smoothness of like 4K and like 100 frames because I get about 100, 105 at 4K. Like it's so just it's vibrant. Gorgeous. Oh my god. Like bro, it's something different. So that's like I've been enjoying that. And then I'm just like lining up because I've got Death Stranding, Horizon Zero Dawn, Guardians of the Galaxy. I've got like some games I've been waiting that I wanted to see on this monitor.
Oh, it's on.
Like my backlog, like the pretty backlog is coming. I played a lot of little stuff, but the pretty backlog is time. So that's what I've been doing. Reset my desk. I got like you guys will notice I'm like looking at these guys. The camera's here, one monitor here, and one monitor here. So the station is set up, I think, pretty complete now. And sadly, it's not even the monitor that I ordered last year. So I pre-ordered that one last year. It was like a 27, same stat, kind of similar stats. And then Asus has a 32 that finally, like, they added the HDMI 2.1 to, I think, pretty late in the game. So I'm like, well, I got this one. It was supposed to ship in like 3 to 5 weeks. So I was like, okay, by the time, because I think my other one's sitting in like the port of LA with all the crazy shipping stuff. Yeah, I think it's actually still out there. I was like, okay, by the time I get the one in late December, I'll have them both at the same time, see which one I like. I still don't have tracking on the other one, and this shipped like a week later, so I'm keeping this one.
He is giving us like the full rundown.
Oh, yeah, he's giving us the rundown.
Sorry,
bro. I got all the tracking data and everything, dog.
It's just been this weird, like it's Eve. It's like not a big brand, so I pre-ordered like a crowdfunded thing like a year ago, and then you had to like finish like your deposit like in April. And then I've been waiting, and now with all the supply chain, like there's a boat in LA, it got switched on ships. I'm like, this thing has been through hell. I still don't have tracking.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
We really are.
You asked for it. You asked for it. You may hear that man talking. We'll intro in a second. Travis, what are you up to, man? You look very focused, sir. And studious tonight, by the way. Very studious.
Yeah. We were all talking about how we wear glasses outside of podcasting and outside of shows, so we decided for one episode we're going to be united in our lenses. So this is what I look like in front of the computer when I'm writing, or not trying to talk to girls or whatever. This is the the default state.
It's your default setting.
My default setting when I'm not zhuzhed up, but you can't wear glasses and be a PvP main on a show, it's not, it doesn't,
is that
you don't have those hunter's eyes,
I'm a PvP
I was
main.
going to say, you got a PvP doctor in here tonight, so we'll see.
All right, well, there you go. But you see, you're looking at it surgically, right? Like I'm like, like PvP mains are like the guys, the rival, football team. They're like, yo, we're going to mess you up. You gotta watch out, That look doesn't really work if you got the glasses on. You look like you're a true nerd.
See, I like to come in under the radar. That's the thing. I like to come in under the radar. So,
low expectations.
You're a shark. You're a shark. Yeah.
And then you just come in and 3-tap and slide out, slide right back in, 3-tap the next, and then tap the next one in a 1-tap.
Nice.
We'll talk about that movement here in a second.
I got a puffer fish a little bit. Scare off maybe 20% before the battle even begins. It's kind of my hope.
You're gonna walk in, pop out the chest.
Yeah. That's right. I don't have those arms cocked, but I can get cocked. So, I also got my booster shot, E, and it was the second most painful thing that happened to me last week. The first being that I reviewed a game called Nerf Legends.
Oh
God, I'm so
I
sorry.
gave it a 2. I gave it a 2 out of 10, which is IGN's lowest reviewed game of the year.
And I think that was generous. I watched that review all 6.5 minutes of pain that you went through, much less what you played to record that. But I watched that and I sent him a message. I'm like, you could have gone lower. I think you could have done a 1 and been justified. It looks so bad. I don't know how much does that game cost, and what's break it down?
It's $60. It is a full game. It is a full $60 title.
What's the name of this game again?
It's called Nerf Legends. It's made by Hasbro. It's a Nerf shooter that basically is like very obviously trying to go like the Fortnite vibe. If you look it up, it like looks like a Fortnite clone. So a 1 at IGN, the reason I didn't give it a 1 means unbearable. And by definition, a 1 basically doesn't function as a game on any level. This game is halfway there. Its multiplayer actually doesn't function. You cannot play a single multiplayer match in the game. It does not work. So half of their game is actually unplayable. The other half is the campaign, which is not unplayable. It is just a terrible experience. And so... yeah, I played through all of the campaign, and I played through 0 multiplayer matches because you cannot play a multiplayer match in the game. It does not work. And then wrote that review. So that's probably the lowest I'll ever. Usually we do not review games that are that bad because, who's going to play a game that by reputation is that bad? It's not really in any danger of people buying it. But in this case, there's a lot of parents out there that are buying their kids kid-friendly games before the holidays, and we felt like it was going to be a public service to ward off maybe a mom or a dad or two or an uncle or an aunt who might buy this for their kid, because we don't want children to hate their parents. And if you buy this for your kid, that is it, man. You're done. You're the least cool uncle that they have, like if you buy this for their kid. So hopefully I saved somebody $60.
Did you get like hazard pay for that one or anything? Maybe
I did not, man. I did, and you know what's messed up? They gave me other options, and I chose that game.
See,
They're
that's
like,
on you, man.
Here's 3 games you can review.
Can you say the other options?
Yeah.
What are the other?
Yeah,
options?
I can. One of them was the League of Legends game. The Rune King or whatever.
The kind of story based like
RPG.
Yeah.
That game actually looked good, but I don't know enough about LoL, so I said I'm not a good choice for that, just because I don't want to review a game when I don't know like the underlying lore, because I know how toxic that community is. Like that's the last thing I want. So I was like, go find somebody who knows more about LoL for that one. I can't remember what the second one was, but I think it was like a sequel it was a sequel in a series of games I haven't played. So it was another one where, not every reviewer is a fit for every game. I haven't played every single video game, so I said Nerf Legends. This looks like a bad game, but it's not a sequel. I don't have to know any lore behind it. I played with Nerf guns as a kid, so I know enough to review this game. And I know a lot about shooters, right? Like as a guy who is writing the wiki for Halo Infinite for IGN and covers Destiny, 2 of the best shooters out there I'm involved with, playing this was an insult to me. Like as somebody who just loves tight shooters, like playing this game was like unbearable. And what's funny? Stuff I couldn't put in the review because the game's so bad, you can't talk about the small bad things. You can only really have time to talk about the big bad things. So like one of the things of the game that I hated is that it has bloom. The game has bloom in it.
In a Nerf game.
In a Nerf game. It's
this is a game that's supposed to cater towards like younger kids, right?
Yes.
Well?
Yeah. It has bloom.
Wow.
It's crazy. I actually meant
in it too.
Yeah, the matchmaking doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't. You cannot play a game. I was going to tell Teddy, because Teddy and I talk all the time. He hates all the Halo games that have bloom in them. That's like, he just can't stand bloom at all. And I'm like, dude, imagine a 2 out of 10 game that has bloom, and it doesn't even make the cut of things to complain about. Like, I didn't even get to talk about how the frame rate crashes on that game all the time, because that's like not something to talk about when the game doesn't even work. Like, oh my god. Anyway, I'm getting us off on a tangent.
Yeah, it really does sound like this game deserved a 2 out of 10. Yeah, but just really quick too, I just went to the page for your review, and it stood out to me. Sometimes your character will die and just never respawn, but this is the one, right? Picking up healing items is like getting punched in the ears. What is that about? What is that about?
It's like
Okay,
bing,
so
bing, bing. That sound.
every single time you pick up a healing item in the game, which happens, I'm not exaggerating, every 3 seconds or less. Anytime you pick up a healing item, the game goes boop, boop, boop 4 times, just like that. Super high pitched, hell of loud. And if you pick up 2 healing items, it does it twice staggered. They do not, it's not like they consolidate it. It'll be like, boop, 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 like it'll just like do that as you pick up multiple ones. And like, it got so bad, dude. I literally was just like, I'm not going to heal. Kill me. I don't care. I'll respawn. I would rather die than pick up a healing item in this game because I hate it so much. I would rather die.
Somebody needs
There's no way to turn it off except by turning off all audio. You can turn off all audio in the game. That's one solution. But yeah.
Fantastic.
Dude, it's nightmarish. It's nightmarish.
All right. Sounds like 2
Just FYI to all of those people out there, this is the darker side of reviewing games and being in the games industry. It's not all roses and gold things. It's there are some bad sides.
So when you complain about Destiny, I want you to have a little perspective, guys. A little perspective of how much worse it could really get. People out there going, "Oh, Destiny dead game."
Yeah,
no,
seriously.
No. Play other games would be my suggestion to you.
Yep,
Play other games and understand how lucky you are.
Well, Cog, after R2 tangents, what you been up to, man? I can't even hear you. You might be muted.
He's muted, yeah.
I can't follow that up, man. But yeah. At the end of the day, I was just still on my Destiny vacation, slowly getting out of it now. Obviously we got the 30th and the stuff we're gonna talk about. Of course, this amazing guest we're gonna intro in a minute. But yeah, I've been catching up on the backlog, man. It's been Guardians of the Galaxy for me right now. I'm trying to get that knocked out, man, and it's a pleasant surprise. Like I am like, wow, so far world-class writing and banter and being hilarious, and I've been Halo Infinite, man. I've been rocking and rolling, getting that on. Outside of that little crazy battle pass system, but other than that, the core gameplay is there. It's so fun, and I'm just rocking out.
You probably one of those people that just picks up grenades and just throws 4 at the same person every time. I
just learned about the repulsor.
You look like the type. I'm just saying, you look like the type.
I might
maybe he just doesn't even know that there are guns in the game. Maybe
just grenades and be like, I gotta go die. I'm out of grenades now. I can't do anything else.
Yeah, if your KD is below a 1.0, you don't know about grenades in Halo. You should at least be killing somebody. You got 4 grenades, man. What are you doing?
Right now, grapple jack and the mallet is my thing, right?
Like, yeah. Well, you look like a Titan. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's my thing, man. So I've been loving it, man.
He has the soul of a Titan. He's just in denial.
I'm playing kind of I'm very Titan-y in Halo. It's definitely the vibe.
It's hard to not be when you play Halo. That's why I picked Titan as my main class in Destiny, is because it's a Bungie game and it looked like Master Chief. I was like,
I think a lot of people feel that same way. Yeah,
absolutely. I just got mesmerized by the little space magic at the Destiny title screen. That was all. Just mesmerized, but I would have been a Titan, honestly. But anyway, enough about us. We've gone on long. We got somebody.
Read my multiplayer tips page, man.
I will.
That's my suggestion. Read it. It'll make you a better player.
But we got somebody special, man.
We do. All right. Yeah, we had a long. You've been hearing him in the background, chiming in a little bit. But yeah, we got a returning guest come back, so we got to start the episode officially. Now that was just the pre-show antics. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 175. This week, we are on the precipice of Bungie celebrating 30 years in gaming, with Zerd daring us to play Wheel of Fortune, and a loot cave from the years past calling us back. Even more exciting for the campfire this week is our returning guest. How do you approach any obstacle that you face? Our guest would tell you to be calm and level-headed. Start by analyzing the situation, figure out how to elevate yourself above that obstacle, and then execute. That is, unless you present him with a bowl of grape nuts, in which he will knock that bowl out of your hands, as any decent human should.
Right.
But our guest's brain runs on math and science, and his master's in engineering and time spent as a patent examiner should clear up any questions of his qualifications. A smart man is quite an understatement, but he's also one who enjoys honing his skills in whatever he puts his mind to. He has a strong affinity for breaking ankles with his movement both on the court and in the arena, so make sure you strap on your shoes nice and tight. So let's welcome a man of the people, of science, of music, and chill, a man who would only stay away from a man who could only stay away from Destiny for about 4 months before it pulled him back in with a Hawk Moon ornament. A true distinguished scholar of Warlock Order who will help you refine your PC settings to make your gameplay the smoothest, or grab his legal pad to help others improve during his community custom teaching sessions on the weekends.
Wow.
Rocking his headbands proudly and slaying out every time he boots up the game. The one, the only, illPhysics. Mr. Tony, how are you doing tonight, sir?
That is the craziest, most complete introduction I've ever heard. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I truly appreciate it.
Happy to have you back, man. It's been a minute. Some things are happening. You stopped playing Destiny. You're back playing Destiny. So yeah, what have you been up to since? I think it was like March or May since all this. I think it was March when we had you, or April or something.
Yeah, no, it's great to be back. It's seriously great to be back. I had so much fun the last time we were here hanging out, just kicking it and just cracking up and just enjoying everything about just our lives, right? I mean, not just Destiny, of course. So since I was last here, if that was like in the spring, we took a little bit of a break from Destiny, went and played Apex. Love Apex Legends. Absolutely adore that game. It's just the skill ceiling is so high. It was naturally the only other game I felt, an affinity for moving from Destiny, because Destiny, I love it because there's a skill gap in movement, and a skill gap in gunplay, and you can synergize those two to make for some really cool plays. And it's impactful in that manner. Like it's not as if, again, it's not as if movement and it's not as if the gunplay, but movement in particular, you can pair those two together and just come up with some really cool plays and kind of strike out your own unique play style, So Apex naturally was kind of something that drew me to Apex was the movement and the gunplay, the fact that you can kind of do the same sort of thing over there. Much more of a competitive game. In the sense of the balancing and how the game is set out. Got to take it definitely a little bit more seriously. It's more aim intensive.
Has
but
rankings.
There's rankings. There's rankings, but it's just you gotta. Let me put it this way. This is the way that I always think of it. For Destiny PvP, I could play like a 12-hour stream. Just PvP. But probably go longer than that, just fine. Apex, I get exhausted. I actually do legitimately get exhausted. It takes a lot of focus to try to play at a high level. And I just started. People had already been playing Apex for a couple of years by the time I had first started. I didn't know anything about Apex beyond just the basics, right? And I had to kind of go from the ground up. And I feel like I've made good progress because me, I'm going to play with intention and I'm playing, for the purpose of improvement, but of course trying to entertain folks through stream.
Nice.
It was a process. It was a journey. I really enjoyed it. Still arguably is my favorite PvP game out right now. That's not to say that Destiny is a very close second for me. And honestly, Halo, I played it for the first time the other day.
Oh, let's go.
That's coming in at a not like a close third, but a third for sure.
Nice.
Okay.
So took a little break, went over to Apex. The biggest thing about coming back to Destiny was it was on the Destiny side and it was on the Apex side. So on the Destiny side, Destiny finally caught up with their PvP, right? The devs finally started to make some big inroads with regards to not just Trials of Osiris in the end game, but just PvP as a whole, the balancing, the anti-cheat that was introduced. What else was it? Also the 3-peaking, just some very big quality of life updates that allow for replayability without the frustration of some of these, I would say, fairly basic frustrations, that folks, that the PvP needed to be refined. The PvP needed to be caught up. So Bungie starting to pay quite a bit of attention to PvP, started hiring more folks for PvP. and just the comms, the transparency in the comms just started becoming like super crispy, beautiful. I'm loving it. I know the community managers have always been like top tier community managers, but they can only say as much as Bungie tells them to say that they can say. They can only engage in a certain way that's defined by their bosses, right? So it's never been, the transparency and the comms have never been about the community managers. They've always been top tier, Kaz, DMG, et cetera, et cetera. It's now just like they've somebody is actually, you know what I'm saying, like giving them the reins. Somebody's actually given them the ability to actually be great at that, to get transparent again. So we've seen a lot of transparency, we've seen a lot of attention, we've seen the devs that have been hired for PvP being very analytical and being very scalpel oriented with how they're doing balancing. We've seen new direction in PvP being defined. And therefore, we're now seeing changes being made to PvP that we can expect and we can see in line with that defined direction. It's just been fantastic to see the transition. It's been fantastic to see the transition. So that's on the Destiny side. On the Destiny side, I came back because those were the things that were required for me to come back, that I talked about on Twitter quite a bit.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, them defining a direction, them making changes in line with that direction, them being transparent about the direct like them being transparent about things, with regards to PvP and how things are structured and how things are being structured in Bungie with regards to resources being put forward to PvP.
Yeah.
And then, the anti-cheat, et cetera, et cetera. On the Apex side, Apex is fantastic to play. Apex is fantastic to play. The content, however, for me at least, is fairly one-dimensional. And so that wasn't the most interesting for me to make content for it, because over there, because it's a more competitive-oriented game, it's basically, can you frag out?
Right.
And I'm catching up. I mean, I can do okay, of course, but I'm catching up, right? And it's just like, what's great about Destiny content is you can make silly content, you can make content about off meta, you can make competitive content. It's just like there's so much diversity in and it's much easier to strike out your own niche with regards to unique content. You can be creative with it, strike out something that nobody else is doing, nobody else is talking about, and or it could just be straight up just your personality can carry through, and people will enjoy you doing similar content as somebody else, but your personality makes it completely different. And people will be attracted to that. But in Apex, you're just much more limited by the content that actually ends up hitting, in the community and for people's consumption, right? So that was the biggest thing between that and also just I want people to come through my stream, and I want people to join my community, whether in Discord or whatever else, because we're just enjoying each other's company too. It's not, I don't need to always frag out for us to have a good time. People come through, and one of the cornerstones, one of the things that I love most about my community is us just kind of learning about each other's day. I know that. I know that I don't know that Jane is a physics major. I know that Iverock be just hitting that pipe like 24/7. It's just it's just I know things about people's lives.
We're in the adult portion of the episode now.
Physics, do me a favor, turn yourself just up a little, low. I was gonna say just a tad if you can. If you can turn yourself up just a second.
You said?
Yeah. They come just a little low.
I'll try. Hold up.
If you can. But I feel it, man. I feel him on that. That is a big thing. The vibe, the whole vibe of the community and getting the vibe. But I had to ask him a question when he come back, because in reference to the leaving part, I want to talk about
why was there the dramatic departure from the mistress, and then she called him back. That
I want to talk about falling out of love and having to move on for a little bit when she ain't accurate. So that's the part I want to get to, because I think all of us at some point during this marathon of a season.
It's a long one.
Aren't you doing that right now, Cog?
Yeah, you're not playing. You haven't played in months.
Bro,
is that any better?
How's he sound? He sound a little better for you? You the audio guy.
You gotta say more than 2 words.
Okay.
Testing 1, 2, 3. How does that sound?
Sound about the same. Does he?
kind of the
is that about
same, yeah.
Let me
the
try to turn
same.
it up a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
He's not trying to blow us up, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm taking it a step at a time. How does that sound?
that sounds a little better.
That's
I
better,
can
yeah.
work with that.
Little
Sounds
better.
better. All
Yep.
right, I'll try to make
Yeah.
sure I'm small on the mic a little bit too.
Yeah, Hope get all up on it.
Get up in there. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
so-
the question I got for you, Fizz, was like, I was just saying, like, we all have that moment. Obviously, it's a long season of loss. Obviously, we knew what we was getting into. We knew that the content wasn't there. And I know you said coming back, some of the things that really excited you with it was the commitment to PvP and at least them being transparent with the messaging and what they're at least attempting to do, right? But I want to talk about before that, where you kind of fall out of love and you kind of like, I'm looking at Apex right now because I want to talk about what led to that.
Oh,
Distracted
man.
boyfriend meme.
Yeah. Like what made you next
Yeah.
This game called Boyfriend Dungeon came out, and you just had to play it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we got to talk about the cheating.
Yeah, so that's I don't know, man. The more I've been back, I just feel like that's like a sour point in this community. I feel like a lot of people fell out of love with me. You know what I'm saying? When I dipped, but it was just an honest departure. It was an honest departure.
I looked through that tweet where you were quitting, and they're like, "Hey, best of luck." Hope there must have been some bad stuff in there too, but like the top stuff I saw was positive.
There, yeah,
and
there
people
was
like,
no,
"Oh,
a
you're
lot of
quitting
people-
Destiny." Oh no, got to be dramatic, that type of thing, or what?
Oh yeah,
Can I
I mean,
just say
of course,
something?
of course. What's up, Trav?
I was just gonna say it's crazy to me that you are expected to play one game and it's like attached to like your identity and your platform, and like that's crazy to me. If somebody was like, "Hey, Travis, you have to just play one video game forever," I'd be like, "What kind of like Sophie's Choice is this? Like, why? Like, it's the games industry."
Dare you, Fizz? How dare
here's the
you
thing,
play another game?
I feel like the community
Literally.
for streamers, for YouTubers, it's a little different, but I feel like for streamers, they're coming there for you. Like, you're the product, not the game. And then, but then they want you to only attach yourself to a certain game and that sort of thing. I'm just very confused by that whole
well,
you gotta have loyalty to the game for them to follow you. It's bizarre.
Well, to a degree, right? Like, I think what you just said, like people with the expectation that you're going to play a game, that's like, my example is when I went to go play Apex, my viewership most definitely dipped strong,
Really?
But people
Wow.
most definitely. But I would never expect for because, a lot of people they aren't necessarily going to enjoy watching Apex.
Right.
And that's fair as far as the content they ingest. So people come through anybody's stream both for the personality, but also for what game is played. And ideally, we live in a world where everybody's gonna stick around for the personality and gonna be really invested in the personality and in the streamer. And if that happens, then the streamer is actually doing the best of jobs, right? But that's never, like, even for variety streamers, like, you're never going to get 100% retention with that, right? So now we go back to, when I went to Apex, this is my example, people would still come through, say what's up, sub, and stick around for a little bit to catch up, and then I'd see them maybe like next month, or I'd see them next week or something along that line. I just never had that expectation. While I agree with you, you would hope, and I tie this to the personality more than anything else. I would hope that folks stick around for the personality no matter what, but I understand that folks are not necessarily going to be invested in watching Apex versus, something like Destiny that they might enjoy more. Because even though on paper, Apex and Destiny PvP seem very, very similar, they're very different in a lot of ways too. At the very least, the fact that Apex is a BR, a battle royale, that plays very differently than kind of like the team deathmatch type style, arena style of Destiny 2. So
yeah, interesting.
So
I get that you would lose like a little bit if they're not into that category of game. Like if you stop playing shooters and went and played like Pokemon, obviously there's some people who are like, all right, well, I'm not into Pokemon, I don't want to watch that. But like, yeah, I guess I'm like not the target audience. Like I don't watch any streamers, to be quite honest. And like, I'm like,
you got
like,
enough
not
stuff
the
to
guy,
do,
but,
man.
like, yeah, but for me, like if there was a guy I liked like hanging out with and watching his content and he was playing a new game, I'd be like, oh, I got to see what he thinks about that. Like I want to see the new thing. So anyway, I'm
Yeah, but then I got the question, Trav. Would you stick around? You know, like 4 months in watching that game, though. You know, like it's one thing.
same
See,
game.
a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
people,
it.
a lot of people would do exactly what you said, and did do exactly what you said. I got to see how Tony feels about Apex. Let me go check in
Mhm.
on him and see what his kind of thoughts and views are. And then, based on my opinion, there a lot of people would. So this is what happened. So a lot of people would do exactly that. Then after they got my thoughts on it, they would actually try to see what they thought about ingesting the content,
Okay.
actually consuming that content, actually looking at my stream and seeing if they enjoy watching it as much as they enjoyed watching me play Destiny. And a lot of people wouldn't necessarily stick around. A lot of people would stick around, and then you had a third category of people that I love these people. I love these people. Not to say I love them more than other people in my community that have stuck around with me no matter what.
Right.
The people that would actually try Apex. There were so many people that actually got on Apex and tried to give Apex a try as well.
Salute.
Because they saw me enjoying it, because they saw that I was playing it, and or they wanted to get in some games with me as well. That was super cool, super cool, you know. So, but to go back to it, I completely understand if folks don't want to necessarily like consume, you know, Apex, a different game, just because, like I said, on paper, Apex and Destiny look very similar, but at the very least, the arena style versus the battle royale style is very different. At the very least, the pace of play, you know, because in Destiny I could just run through like 40 people in a match.
Yeah.
But in Apex, I'm having to play my life a little bit better because as soon as I die, as soon as I make it's really punishing mistakes in that game too. Like mistakes are really punishing in that game. So therefore,
Yeah.
I make a mistake, I'm right back to the lobby, and then we got to drop down again. Then we got to loot up again, and you know it's RNG involved in that. Then you have to decide whether you want a hot drop, which hot drop means do you want to drop in the middle of like some good loot, but a lot of people are going to be there, so there's a good chance you might take an L straight off the bat, or you might be able to clean up and move through the lobby or whatnot. Or do you want to like kind of like cold drop a little bit, or like lukewarm is what I called it.
Outskirts.
Yeah, kind of the outskirts, or maybe like, you know, right by the hot drop area. There's options, but all I'm saying is the pacing of it is different, and you definitely are. It's more punishing. So if I really want to go for a flashy play or whatnot, most times I'm not good enough to carry that off. 4 months in, you know, I was good enough to sometimes, every once in a while, hot drop and really pull off some plays, kill 3 and 4 people, you know, in a row, and then move through the lobby and maybe get the dub or not. But yeah, it just you know, that pacing was you know, something that's kind of nuanced, but it's very different. Very different.
Would you like to see Destiny get a battle royale mode?
Hell no.
Good question.
Oh, okay.
Spicy.
Why not?
Hell no. Okay, let me say this.
What if it's the other title they're working on, a battle royale in the Destiny universe, but it's a separate
That
game?
is a battle royale.
I like. Okay, so let me say this for like let me elaborate. I like options.
Okay.
I like options. So if Destiny got a battle royale, or the new title that Destiny is working on is a battle royale, it's nice to switch between the two. I'm down with that. You know, as long as I have the option to play the arena, because the arena is probably where I'm going to spend the majority of my time, because that means I can chill a little bit more. I can't chill in Apex. Ain't nobody chilling in Apex. Man.
Like boot in there, like, all right, strap in, glasses on, and everything.
Yeah, pretty much. The only time
Everybody's wearing headbands in there.
Halfway chilling in Apex are controller players, and I'm not knocking controller players. I'm just saying
easy.
With controller players, you can kind of sit back a little bit more and play it a little more casually, you know. So
tell that to the Halo World Champs.
but keep in mind, I've said this because there does seem to be some reputable, some credible like information behind it. Apex supposedly is gonna get arena team deathmatch style modes next season. Supposedly.
Really?
Supposedly.
Okay.
Some friends have definitely sent some videos over, some information straight from devs that have said that is a strong likelihood. So we'll see. And if that happens, I'll definitely get back on Apex and mess around with it for a little bit, because then I wouldn't have to be quite as invested as I need to be for the BR in order to be, again, kind of successful in those games. You got to frag out. That's the content over on Apex, is you got to frag out. So
Yeah.
again, that's the reason why I came back. But to answer your question, why did I leave Destiny? Right? Why did I leave Destiny?
What was the fallout? Yeah.
And it's just I've played Destiny for the last 6-7 years, right? Destiny PvP almost exclusively, and in the time frame, in the lifespan of Destiny 2's PvP, it just got to the point where it was obvious that they were neglecting PvP.
Talk that talk, brother. Talk that talk.
Straightforward.
Right.
They were neglecting PvP. And I tried to stick around for as long as I possibly could. I tried to find, a lot of people are just like, yo, if you don't like a game, don't play it. If you don't enjoy this, don't play it. And I completely agree. I'm not trying to play anything in my time, whether it be leisure or otherwise. I'm not trying to play it if I'm not enjoying myself. That's when you end up getting toxic, That's when you end up being just frustrated and talking shit on the mic. And I've done that before, but I try to make sure I keep that shit in check. And I try to make sure that I'm, my chat expects me to enjoy what I'm playing. And I think most chats, most communities expect you to enjoy, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you're doing something that you enjoy, so that you can have those great vibes. Basically, you can have those great vibes in your stream. And so I did my absolute best to just try to find any corner of PvP, Destiny PvP, that I enjoyed. So I stopped playing Trials because cheating was so incredibly bad and pervasive in Trials. I stopped playing Trials. I just played quick play like the entire time from there on out. I played Gambit. I played PvE as much as possible as well. I enjoy both of those things, by the way. I love Gambit. But it just got to a point where I do need to have something in PvP, and even quick play the neglect was getting out of control. It was getting out of control. The gaslighting to some degree, in communication, the lack of communication, the lack of transparency. And again, this is not on the community managers. I'm sure that they were literally just being held, by Bungie, by executives, by whatever else, by whatever direction the company was going in with regards to PvP. They were just being held to the point where they couldn't. And so that being the case, that neglect, that gross neglect, we're talking about for years.
For years,
bro.
You suffered in silence.
I was trying to be positive. I was trying to give them as much of an opportunity as possible, and it just came down to the point where
they didn't care about us.
That was it.
They'd be dead.
I literally played a game of Trials. I remember my last game that I played.
Let me hear the fallout. Here we go.
The last game that I played. Not only were these, I played Trials because my friend really insisted that I play with them that weekend. And I love playing with my friend Kels. And so I opted on. I'm like, yes, for you, I 100% will. We hopped into Trials. And we faced, almost off the bat, a couple cheaters that were clearly wall hacking, and egregiously aimbotting. Okay, all right, cool. Then we got a couple wins, straightforward for the most part. And then I remember the second I decided I was going to quit, and it was Endless Veil Trials.
Woo.
I shot off two shots with my Dire Promise, hit them both in the head, and with a third shot, it didn't land. Why? Because that person just casually shot off a grenade from a grenade launcher, a secondary grenade launcher, not a heavy grenade launcher, a breech-loaded grenade launcher, killed me. And I'm just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, man. It's not just, we got the cheating, we got the lag half the time, you know what I'm saying? And then we got these weapons that it's just like, what is this balance, where I can't have rewarding gunfights because I'm just getting hit by something that, y'all about to get me going.
Let's go.
That shouldn't have been even in the game to begin with. Why are grenade launchers in the secondary spot in PvP in a life-limited playlist being so incredibly consistent? And I can't get consistency out of just using a
basic
normal
guns,
primary weapon. There was nothing that was going to stop me from getting killed right there. Literally, a pulse rifle, I would have died. A hand cannon, I would have died. A scout rifle, I would have died. Like dog, And then we're not even going to get into Stasis and why
leave that alone.
why it was so pervasive on drop. why it was so pervasive on drop, and the fact that it was pay to win, because if you didn't buy if you didn't buy Beyond Light, you didn't have access to Stasis.
We'll get to
and
that.
Stasis was literally winning games for how long? For months, for months. How did that even get through? I'm trying not to slam this on the table.
I can feel it.
And the heat is coming through.
Me and you didn't talk, so I needed. This is the healing, right? So like I needed to know the pain, the suffering, and then what led you, and then now where E's gonna go, to coming back and seeing that the attention being paid at least, right? At least some of the oh boy, shaking his head. I know, brother, you've been through it. And I was there, and Trav was there. We all were there, and we would talk about it every week. We would just be like, look, what is going on? Why is it? And you said it so eloquently, which was, we don't want to blame community managers because they are being instructed on what they can put out.
100%,
right?
100%.
But it was clear. It was an impact. It was almost like a silencing of that part of the game as far as what are we going to talk about with the community. And it's just so good to see, at least at the bare minimum, the focus was at least coming back. So that's good to see that at least that kind of got your eye looking like, okay. Now we're getting into the 30th anniversary, but I'm gonna give it to Trav and E. So I just had to get that from you, brother. I wanted to know what happened.
And I gotta say one more thing. I'll say one more thing too. It's just like me, like Twitter is my other big platform. You know what I'm saying? Like my Discord is also like a close third of that, but Twitter is my platform. That like I'm a writer more than anything else. I love writing, and I love like elaborating and articulating through good writing, through good thoughtful writing on stuff. And so I tried for so long just to break it down. This is what we need, like a really good example is it is obvious that there is no direction right now for PvP. Like changes are just being made. Changes are just being made like this, But
throwing things at the wall.
Yeah, we're just throwing things at the wall and seeing kind of what sticks. But it almost seemed like half the time they didn't even care what stuck. It's just throwing stuff at the wall, And so I tried to, we need a firm direction so that we at least have expectations, so that when, say, for example, you want that direction to be maybe in a direction that I don't personally care for. Okay, cool. But at least I now have an expectation.
Yes.
At least I now have an expectation. So I don't have to guess. I don't have to guess one way or the other on why this change is being made. I have an expectation. Okay, well, this is the direction. And now I can make a firm decision myself on whether I want to play it, because I know what direction, this is not a surprise anymore. Right. And so like, I guess what I wanted to kind of come back around to is the fact that like, it just seemed like I just got so much hate. I just got so much hate. Most definitely. I just got so much hate because people, this is why, like, literally the first statement that is in my Twitter bio says, think critically, People just don't want to, they refuse to think critically about this stuff. And it's just like, look, like I'm like, I try my best to give a very balanced perspective when I talk about things. I try to make sure that I give praise and kudos anywhere possible that I can for Bungie, devs, et cetera. And there's plenty of positive stuff to shout out. I would say arguably more positive stuff ever to shout out, because we're talking about PvP right now, but but PvE been popping for like a minute. Like Bungie been killing it with PvE for like a minute, but that only made the neglect to PvP even more glaring.
Yes.
Yes. So it's just like, so I just want to, like I'll come to a point right here just by saying, like, the amount of like just man. By me just standing up for PvP, trying to be as respectful, trying to be as thoughtful, as sensitive, in my feedback as possible. It's just I get.
There's very little nuance on the internet, and it goes for a lot of topics. And it's like people get a lot more heated about games, but it's like, I've talked to Travis and Cog about stuff offline. It's like, you can't have a discussion on the internet, much less on Twitter, about anything that matters. And this is people getting heated and pissed off over a game that should be fun and entertaining. And as you guys have said, it's like, there are points where it's like, oh, I'm going to leave. It's like, oh, he came back. It's like, so he had a change of heart. No big deal. But also it's like, he's allowed to have I don't think anybody can go through your Twitter and say you've like gone off the rails or like, had a completely ridiculous take. It's like, do you see how many like the discussion topics, like the well thought out bullet point list here this guy does just to be like, here, this is the one thing I want to talk about today. This, because of this, maybe this, but we could do it in this way. If we made these changes, it's like, that's actually thoughtful, constructive criticism as opposed to you guys are all terrible people. It's like, and then the attacks that developers get as well is just awful to see.
Attacks, yeah.
So it's like people getting personal attacks, and then there's very little nuance to even a decent discussion. I mean, it's like Travis and I like joked about one thing at one point. I don't want to bring it back up again, but it's just like stuff that was going on kind of halfway across the world. It's like, there's no way you could talk about that stuff with any bit of nuance and not just get like absolutely lit up on Twitter. So no, it's like, it's really sad that having an opinion is taken so poorly, being is that it's like, it can be opinion. There can be some facts. There can be some decent discussion in some of these things, but usually Twitter's just set on fire half the time. If it's not their opinion, the match is yours. And it's really sad.
Yeah. Well,
There's such thing as a moderate on that one.
Yeah, most definitely. I just, even just coming back, I mean, I was very, very detailed in both why I left, when I left. I was very detailed in the fact that it was not a crazy reflection on Bungie as a company and things like that. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't something where I was just like, people maybe expected me just to go off on the rails on Bungie. Like, I literally said I quit the game in like one tweet, but the successive like maybe 4, 5, 6 tweets or something like that was just praise on everything that I love about Bungie and about the game just in general. Yeah. And I was trying to make sure that I balanced that because I like, it's just not necessary. Like I said, I quit. So and I've already said what my issues kind of what the game are. So like, there's no reason to continue to go with that. And then even coming back, like I made sure to say why exactly I came back, which by the way, was in line with exactly what I requested when I left, they were the exact, I told them cheating, free peeking, you know what I'm saying? Like matchmaking, investing more in PvP resources, a direction, like literally all of that stuff. And that's what was required for me to come back. And that's what when I came back. And then I confirmed again that those were the
died
things.
for our patches.
Yeah.
That's it, brother.
You took the apex sacrifice so we could see PvP grow.
Hey, I mean,
he died for our patches, y'all.
Respect, man. Well said, and I agree. It's okay to have constructive criticism. I think you've been respectful and how you handle it, and I just think it's one of those things where just like at the end of the day, people have to separate the emotionality, because what it is, they love the game so much and they love you, and they probably internalized it too personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and that's just what it is. And what I've learned with Twitter specifically, that's why I like what we do last word, because it's like, this is the format to have those debates and stuff with people. Because to me, I'm only going to engage you if I care about you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If I care about we going back, that means I care because I respect you enough that I feel, hey, we could have an intelligent discussion. At the end of the day, we can agree to disagree, but at least I know it'll be respected. Unfortunately, with Twitter, the nuance, and then some people, they're just nasty and malicious, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not worth it.
The veil of the internet.
I've just learned to abstain from dealing with those people because it's just trying to get a reaction out of you. You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say, we got a big TWAB, so we may as well jump into that one a little bit later into the podcast. So, first thing I do want to touch on before we get into all the game stuff that we've got going on is Game to Give. And that is the charity event that is going on right now. There's going to be links pretty much everywhere. I've got one because I've been kind of part of this thing for the last couple of years. And it's their charity event for kind of the holiday season, and they're doing it for basically a couple of weeks. And by donating towards the Bungie Foundation, which does everything from working with the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals, St. Jude's, and honestly, they've expanded it so much more to cover basically a lot more causes, if you guys have seen. But pretty much the way they kind of wrap it up is, we are a people-focused organization that builds and empowers our community to improve the health and well-being of children, uplift the rights of all individuals and communities, and provide aid in times of crisis. And that pretty much wraps up everything they go for. They've done the shirts when we were helping, I think it was like Nepal with the earthquake. I mean, you've obviously seen the Black Lives Matter stuff that they did before. You actually saw the CEO out there marching in Seattle and stuff like that. And then also always working for basically the little lights and the children. So they are doing that once again. And depending on how much you donate, up to $50, you can get an in-game ship, multiplayer emote, couple emblems, things like that. And then depending on, if you catch somebody doing a stream, they may have some incentives and stuff like that. I am actually going to be doing a featured stream for that. It's going to be Monday the 13th. About a week and a half from now, so it'll be like 6 to 8. Trying to figure out what my incentives are going to be kind of leading up to that one. I'm trying to narrow those down this weekend. But overall, that's one of those things when it comes to the community, and you said this as well, Tony, is like when it comes to what Bungie, the community managers, and when this community comes together to do good things, it is pretty much second to none. When they do these charity drives, when you see the amount that people are doing, I know Scaro did was kind of an early stream to kick some of this stuff up. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars get like raised for these really, really good causes. So I wanted to make sure that you guys all know, New Rad, I'm thinking about that.
Man, push-ups ain't come back.
I'm trying to figure out, because I was honestly wondering, because like been lifting some, but also like kind of got the heavy bag downstairs, got a rowing machine, and I was kind of trying to decide, depending on how much gets donated, like how long a workout could be or how long rounds could be, and actually just kind of do that on stream, and depending on how much more people donate. So I'm trying to figure out if I can do that mathematically so I don't die, like if people donate a lot, where I don't just like I'm just like a lump on the floor after a while. It's like punch the bag, it's like I can't lift my arms anymore, like. So I'm trying to figure out if I can find a good number for that.
Push-up per $1.
Oh no, I would die. I would die. Push-ups, sadly, is something I'm very weak at for whatever reason. Like I could squat. Yes, actually. Yeah, for some reason, like my push-up endurance, like actually, I'm not that strong at bench, but I was like, I'm okay. Kind of around body weight is where I maxed recently. But like push-up endurance is not something I'm actually that good at. I could air squat. Probably longer than a lot of people just sit there and just do air squats or decent squats.
Those are real. Yeah, those are real.
Yeah, I was like, I could go for a while in those, but no, push-ups for what, and I've been working on them off and on, but it's just one of those things. It's So I would have to mix it up. I'd be like, all right, so some squats, some push-ups, some sit-ups, some bag work, some rowing, and just like try and have a rotation going so I could survive it. But check out any of the featured streamers. Monday the 13th will be mine, but if you're just looking to donate, it's a really good cause, and you get stuff in game and Destiny as well. So it's one of those things I wanted to make sure we shout out before we get too far away from basically everything else that's going to be in game.
Yeah, I'll make one point as well. The charities, like so obviously Bungie does a great job with picking the causes, that they end up contributing towards or putting on blast, giving exposure to. But they also do like something that a lot of people probably don't recognize. They pick great charities themselves. Like the actual organizations themselves. All charities are not made equal. No. It's something that I've recognized for a long time, just in I'm a little bit older, right? So between the charities that I end up raising money for, or that I end up giving money to over the years, I always go by websites like Charity Navigator and just kind of check out how they end up spending their money and how effective they are in their mission based on the money that we end up giving to. Basically, where that money goes, right? The organizations that Bungie ends up partnering with, fantastic. So they do their homework. They do their homework. I haven't seen a time where they haven't done their homework where I'm just like, that organization's a little sketch or whatnot. They do their homework. It's really, really great. So I gotta give definite kudos to them on that. And I'll say the last thing: don't give to the Red Cross. Horrible organization. Yeah. They do a poor job. They do a poor job with routing the money that you give them. Just FYI.
Respectfully said.
Well, good to know. See, you've heard it right here. You know where it should go, and also apparently one place you should very much research before you give to.
There you go.
I'm not going to say either way, but that's totally fair.
Yeah, that's
if you're going to give money to somebody,
research it.
Do your research.
Yep.
That little bit out of the way. Definitely make sure you guys check that out, though. So extremely good cause. We got a little. I don't know if we've ever had a season like this. Trials is back to discuss once again. Trials Labs Freelance is coming back, and basically they said it's going to have one little change. So Freelance is going to be Trials this weekend. We'll have the note up there for Trials Labs. As it is Labs, they said the only thing is you only have to own Beyond Light and B1290. You don't have to do the Trials intro quest. I don't remember what the Trials intro quest is at this point,
Yeah,
because
ask
we
your
all
guys
probably
what it was.
we all probably like walked up and we were like, check. I think it's a certain amount of PvP that you have to do before you can do Trials. I don't actually know though.
You have to do one Valor. I was asking this same thing in the chat, my chat a little bit earlier. I think you have to do a Valor reset at least once.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's actually a decent
Yeah.
amount of time in there.
Yeah, that's a decent amount of time actually.
So yeah, this one does not require that, but does require owning Beyond Light and being 1290. Of course, everything else still matters. But I kind of wanted to go to you first and see what are your thoughts on freelance existing? Would you like to see it stay? Do you like it? Do you not? Where are you at on Trials freelance just being a thing?
I absolutely love Trials Freelance. Absolutely adore it. Oh man, where to start? So I'll start at the end first. Not requiring people to do the Trials quest or whatnot. I see where they're going with that. You know, Bungie, the direction that Bungie has taken, which is fantastic, at the beginning of the season, is to get that population as high as possible, but also balancing that with trying to eliminate cheating and kind of like the bad actors and things like that. And so this is another kind of decision that's in the vein of trying to get that population up, which obviously is going to dip later into what is mounting up to be a fairly long season.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how it ends up playing out. Obviously, it was kind of a gate that was put there in order to de-incentivize new accounts coming in, which a lot of times end up being bad actors, cheaters, and things like that, who just start up a new account and just go again. We just go again, right? So, but I do, like I said, I see that the population is dipping a little bit, and whenever population is low, it always sucks for the people who are actually still playing the game, myself included, Trials. So, interested to see where it goes. Happy with the change, and we'll just see how it plays out. I see, obviously, that the direction they're trying to take with it. As far as freelance, love it. It's unfortunate that it ends up splitting the playlist. What a lot of people don't know about Trials and kind of like the split playlist is there's a bunch of like little mini pools that folks don't recognize, that folks don't know. Crossplay is not 100%, right? So there's still going to be little pockets and little pools where I'm not going to have access to, and somebody else is never going to have access to me, and things like that. So with there being card-based matchmaking, with there being flawless pool on Sunday, with there being these little mini pools that folks don't even kind of recognize exist based on platform and everything else.
Geo,
most
input
definitely.
pools.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of
Yep. It sucks that the population gets split, but it's fantastic that it's freelance and nobody has to play against stacks. Nobody has to play against teams. So it has been a very well received playlist, very well received from what I've seen. People generally love it, myself included. It's just unfortunate that even when freelance came around the first time, it actually that the threes playlist, the normal playlist, got hit pretty hard with regards to connections and matchmaking times. So that's something definitely to kind of keep in mind for everybody, that even when population is at a pretty decent point, adding in freelance, kind of hits the regular playlist kind of hard. So does that mean that we're even going to be able to have a freelance playlist, even when population's high? I don't know, the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. It'll be interesting.
A question for everybody else, with regards to freelance, whether you like it and how much you'd like to see it, but is there a time frame as the splitting of the playlist, especially late in the season? We don't know how long the seasons will be, things of that nature. Is there a point where it's like every other week, every 3 weeks? Like, is there a frequency where you think it would be nice to have for the people who want to play and not face the 3 stacks, but also give enough balance to like the general population being together so it's healthy most of the time? Is there an amount of times that you guys would think freelance would be healthy to see? Not too much, not too little? Is there a magic number you guys could put it on? Travis, you're noodling right now.
Yeah, I don't really. It would sort of depend on their numbers. I feel like they know their player bases and that sort of thing. But I kind of wonder if like the population's low enough, if they really think freelance is worthy playlist, then maybe they should alternate. Maybe there should just be a weekend where you can only play freelance. Like it's just You know, that's a game mode, because other games do that. Like, and Halo is one of them. Like, one of the rotating playlists in Halo is FFA playlist, and or you know that, which is essentially like a no parties. Yeah, it's free for all. You can't party up, and so it would be pretty easy for them to do that if they felt that that was in their best interest. But from a game design perspective, I feel like Trials is very clearly meant to be played with teams. And you can see that just by the fact that Bungie says don't expect to go flawless if you play in the matchmaking playlist. You can see just in the game mode, and the fact that callouts and all the stuff that we were complaining about a couple weeks ago, when you have like a blueberry on your team, or when you're not in a full stack and there's miscommunication, or you have one guy who's a wild cannon, loose cannon, right? That's never like a good feeling to have. So I kind of feel like it's probably not part of the game design. It'll always be kind of like an add-on that they can do when they feel like they can, right? And that if it were going to interfere with the integrity of the playlist, they'd probably just turn it off. But I don't feel like it's ever going to, because the freelance playlist tends to increase the amount of people who are playing Trials. That said, it probably takes some people out of the non-freelance playlist of Trials, because there's some people who are just like, well, why would I play with a full team if I don't have to go through the hassle of getting my whole team together and all that stuff? So yeah, I think we probably don't know enough to diagnose the problem, but I would just say from like a philosophical standpoint, I don't see it ever being more than kind of like an add-on, you know, to like the core playlist.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've always been a fan of freelance only from the standpoint of I know everybody else is in the same situation as me, right? Because to me, the only problem with the matchmaking trials, one of the problems with the matchmaking trials was just, you know, the inevitability of facing that other team, and you know they're a full three, and you know, or they at least have two, and your odds of winning pretty much, you feel, goes down when you're playing against a coordinated unit. So, you know, I think it's interesting that they decide to bring it back almost as a population increase device. You know what I mean? Like, okay, whether it be, you know, internally they saw something like, okay, let's bring it back, because it's clearly getting people to play. I think that they must have some type of data that's showing them, hey, when we have it out there, more people are playing. Not necessarily what I know. Yeah, I know you're part of the squad, because you told me a story yourself, right? Of you actually meeting people, and then you guys actually linking up because you had a good run together with strangers that you would have never played with if freelance didn't exist. So yeah, I think right now we don't have enough data from them on the number side. I am curious on that. With all this being said, you know, obviously I'm a fan of it, but I'm still of the mindset, and I'm always going to die on it, is that, you know, this is great, but I need rewards. And for me, you know, just selfishly speaking, I got my Reed's Regret. You know, I've got the role I want. I got Fire in Line. I got a Vorpal on stash. You know what I mean? I got the 120, you know, the Igneous. I got a great, what is it, Shariah's Wrath. Like, I'm lit.
God
rolls. Like, I'm lit. So, you know, it's not their fault. I know they're messing around. They're still tweaking. They're still finding that balance and stuff like that. But to me, the way I'm going to judge them, and I'm always going to, you know, down it, is for Witch Queen. Like, when it comes back again, I would like a full slate of rewards, you know, so that investment. And in their defense, this is a long season. I get it. That's why I'm not going crazy. I knew coming in what this was. I'm like, all right, y'all figuring it out. Yeah, you're messing around with the meta, but please, I don't want it to be a situation where next season it's the same list and then one more gun plus Reed's Regret.
Right.
Like, we really need it, including the armor sets. Right? We want every season. I want that same dedication that PvE gets with a raid and raid armor and raid loot. I want the same dedication for trials, with trials loot and trials weapons. And then for the most part, I'll be fine. You know, so, you know, that's where I'm at with it. I was just like, okay, cool. You know, we'll see. What about you?
I was gonna say, like, for me, I'm very glad that freelance is there. For me, because I've reset my rank, I've reset my reputation, whole thing, all 16, twice with Saint now. Just because it's been an option for me to go in there, like without anybody, whether I'm sitting here for, I got an hour to play, I don't have enough time to meet people up, and it's just like I can boot it up and I can try. Now, is my win to loss ratio bad? Yeah, I'm probably like maybe a third. But would my win loss ratio be a little more reasonable if I knew half the time when I like booted up a game and I hit U on my keyboard to see, is there a 3 stack in there? And I see it and I'm like, son of a. Now, granted, every so often you beat one of those and actually feels a little better because like a couple people you're in, you're like, all right, hey, we went 1 and 1, 2 and 2. Okay, we can do this. You start stepping up a little bit and you're like playing a little more cautious, like sticking with your teammates. And sometimes, and those moments where you do have the good games against like the 3 stacks, you're like, well, they may not be the best 3 stack, and maybe I got God tier on my side. Who knows? But I had one match that we were down, I think 3, like 0-3, 0-4, and somehow brought one of them back. I don't even know how it happened.
Wow.
Like, had some fun ones. But the best part, I got to tell the story, was
Let's go.
I was just streaming trials, like working on my wins. And then all of a sudden, somebody, and I was like, man, like that team just destroyed us, like annihilated it. Like I may as well have just been like a bug on the ground and they stepped on me and just squashed. Like no challenge at all. And it was like maybe an hour later or something, and they came through and said, hey, that was me in your game earlier. And I looked up the name and I looked up on trials report. 400 times flawless. His teammate was 200 times flawless. And he's like, yeah, he's like, dude, my teammate is like God tier sniping or what, like, and I was like, okay. And I don't know if it's even the same day. He may have even like looked me up later. He said he looked me up on like Destiny Theater or something. He's like, and he actually said, yeah, Meshuggah. And he said he'll look up people if their streamers are like cool and reach out and say, hey, do you want to, like, do you want to come run with us?
Okay.
And he actually, yeah, but he's like, and that's why it's like he'll look through and find people's like, because he may be carrying or helping somebody, and then he goes through and stomps on people, and he looks through and saw somebody was a streamer, and he can reach out to him. He'll be like, hey, it's like big or small. It's like, if you're cool, you up for this? So it's like it jumped in. I've now gone flawless for one time in Destiny 2. So I went to the lighthouse. Yeah.
Was the tweet up? Did you put the tweet out too? I didn't see the tweet.
No, I had to surprise you right now. I saved it for this.
Wow.
So I have now gone flawless in Destiny 2.
And let the light radiate on you. That's what's
dude, I took so many pictures in there. I took so many pictures in the lighthouse from like every angle. I got a lot of pictures. So it was.
What was your KD on the card?
Take all the pictures
I don't even know what my KD on the card was, but I had a couple clutch moments. I had a good super shut down a super.
Nice.
Had a couple like 1 or 2 doubles. And that's kind of one of those things too, that it's not something everybody gets a chance to do, but it's like when you play with better people, you won't always, but you actually tend to like step up as opposed to when like crappy, like crazy guy runs straight into like a cannon and just gets his head shot off, and you're like, you almost seem to fall down at that point. It's weird. Like you can only make up so much, but if somebody else is there who's actually doing well, then you're like, okay, now I'm sticking with them. I'm being a little better about peeking. I'm getting my shots. Like you feel like you're playing better because you're with the better skill, and it's like it's mostly them doing it, and I'm kind of along for the ride. But I also feel like I had a couple moments. I was like, okay, it's like Radar's over here. Hey, we're getting ready for a flank. Pop the super. They did too. We traded supers, and that's what saved that round. But that guy at the same time, 2 up, just him, goes in and just slugged like crits like crazy. The dude just pulled off some shots. I watched it and was like, I'm glad you're on the, I'm on my side, because yeah, there were some shots they did. And they're sitting there just like, and I love the people who are usually that good, played with 1 or 2 others that have been like this, could like read you a book while they're playing, because it's such a chill activity. They don't even, they're just like, yeah, whatever, cool, just, whatever, bam, bam, just got like God tier shots going off. I'm going, cool. I'm over here like,
yeah, me, I'm always
like all focused up and everything.
Don't get picked.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. Yeah, and you get later, I'm like, my super's like almost there. I'm like, okay, I'm staying back. I gotta wait for my super so I can not like totally waste it and get picked and be like, okay, they're peeking out of see. I'm like really cautious, and they're over there like, yeah, whatever, bam, here's a sniper shot, run around the corner. Oh, I'll pop my super 2 down. I'm like, I just stood here the whole time. Good job. But it was a lot of fun.
That was me when I took Addict to the lighthouse.
Oh yeah, he told me.
Took it there. Super casual. We were just talking about other stuff while we were just clutching matches, and not at all paying attention to the
Not at
game.
all
And then we're
paying
like,
attention,
wait,
yeah.
was that 7 wins? Oh, that was 7 wins. You went plus. And he was like, guys, I can't believe you were talking that whole time, because he didn't say a word the whole game. He was just like sitting there like this, like worried we were gonna lose.
He hasn't been. He told me about it. He's like, yeah, Trav got me there, man. I was like, that's what's up. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that was
I
cool.
didn't even
It's like,
realize how tense he was. I was like, wow, Lord Addict's like really quiet when he's not on stream. I didn't expect him to be so not talkative.
yeah,
In
went
Halo, he's different. Halo, he's different. But yeah,
Yeah.
Destiny, he listens to the.
yeah, it was mostly Desperado Messenger. I am lucky enough to have one of those, so can't argue there. Once or twice, I use that actual like proc, but most of the time it's just like a ranged pulse that I feel pretty consistent with. And then started using Shiras more. Actually, I found a decent one. It's been not, mine's not God tier, but kind of that alternate. It's like the shotguns gets close. It's like they close it and I'm dead. But it's like it's got that mid range that I'm actually kind of getting a little more comfortable with that I'm liking. So
Yeah. Shiras is amazing. Seriously, you really don't need to have like a god tier Shiras. That's the great thing about it. In order for it to be a fairly consistent weapon, you've got some decent perks on the end. You've got maybe like 1 or 2 range perks, and you're pretty much Gucci because it's got 17 zoom, and the zoom is what matters the most on SMGs. It's not literally any other perk will always find fall second to what zoom the SMG has. And if it has god tier zoom like Shiras, if it has god tier zoom like Multimach, then you can generally make something of it with a decent roll.
yeah. That was cool. But that's like to kind of go back to what we were talking about in the first place with freelance. The times when I do start a match and I pull up the roster and I'm like 3 singles versus 3 people together, whether it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This is never in the flawless pool because Sunday and Monday I'm still never there. The times I see those 3s just really sink my heart just a little bit because I'm like, here we go. And the fact that like that's why for me. That's why I was like, I don't know, as you said, Travis, whether it's like they alternate the node back and forth to be like everybody's in 3s or just, whatever option, or it's everybody solos. So it's always like one or the other. As you said, the splitting's kind of hard, but I would like to see it every 2 to 3 weeks for me, at least. So when I know it's not too long of a wait, that I'm going to get that freelance chance again, because I do like, because there's enough solo people I keep matching on my team with that I know somebody would benefit from that, because there's enough 3s out there, but there's enough solos. And I don't know what it is. Like, it's hard. I rarely see like the 2 and the 1. Like, I'm rarely paired with 2 against the 3. I don't know. I don't know why it is like it's 1-1-1 and a 3 stack. 1-1-1, 3 stack. I'm like, can I not? And then finally you see everybody's by yourself. I'm like, oh, okay, we can have a game. And it's like, those are the games when I'm probably a little closer to 50-50. And that's why freelance for me is more fun, because every time I start a match, I know in my head that I'm like, I'm already starting. It's like everybody's random. It's like it could go either way. It's not like odds are against me from the beginning. And that's just one of those things. And that could be me going into the bad mindset, which is totally fair for a different thing. So, because some games I have won, but that coordination is a thing that's going to give you a pretty good advantage if you're working together.
The last point I'll say before we move on, I want to give Travis flowers, because I've been playing a lot of competitive Halo now, and it says something when you see that nice little ranking. When you see that little ranking,
Right?
Oh, that's the other piece I want. Yeah,
these dudes in my bracket, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I wish that's the.
And the other
has
thing,
it.
what
like,
it needs. Comp
I-
needs
I-
that.
I've sort of reached enlightenment with Destiny's PvP after being so close to Halo's multiplayer, working on the wiki, because once you really get in like under the skin of a game that does multiplayer, the multiplayer, I'm not talking about the sandbox and the gunplay. Obviously that's great too. I'm talking about the ecosystem is really, really solid. It kind of made me start to think about Destiny in a different way of like kind of analyzing. And we haven't met in another week, so it's been 2 weeks since our last episode. In that time, I've just been like face first in Halo Infinite's multiplayer, and it's like, why aren't there sandbox? Why aren't there playlists? Right? That there's playlists that rotate in and out, but they're only on social. So like, why is it just trials every weekend? Shouldn't there be a weekend playlist? And sometimes it's trials, which is this 3v3 mode where you have to bring your own team, and other times it's a competitive mode that's everybody's freelance. And maybe another time it's like, because for us trials is, I don't even know what trials is right now, because if you think about it in terms of Halo, Trials Objective and Trials 3v3 Deathmatch would be separate game modes, but we think of them in Destiny as one game
It's
mode.
one thing.
We think of it as like, oh, it's Trials, but this time there's objectives. It's like, okay, well then that's not Trials. Like that's a separate game mode. It should have a different name. So there should be Trials Freelance, and that has its own playlist, or it rotates out on some weekends. There's Trials Classic, which is the format we're used to. There's Trials Objective modes. Like there should be separate game modes, and it kind of blew my mind that we don't think of playlists that way in Destiny. There's comp, and comp is just one game mode, and it's always the same thing, and it's just the way that they've created multiplayer buckets is so backwards in my opinion. And it's just very basic, and it allows for that stagnation that Tony was talking about. He experienced, and kind of the reason he left, because there is no kind of like nuance and constantly changing. And to us, the big events in Destiny are, oh, Iron Banner's here. Oh, well, what's Iron Banner? Well, it's the same exact game mode, except for this time we earn different rewards. That's not a game mode. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a skin on a game mode. That's not a different functional mode.
I've sort of just become obsessed with how well Halo has its playlists and the way it identifies different games. And something else that Destiny could really learn from, isn't afraid to have silly game modes like Capture the Flag and Oddball and just the stupid like stuff that's just kind of like
more
more
years
fun.
in and we don't have that stuff. Like,
why did games decide to get more boring with their multiplayer modes over time? Because they used to just be crazy with all the different modes they'd offer. So
you're on fire with that, because you got me thinking. The closest I remember Destiny to that was D1. And I remember you watch the TWAB, and it's like, yo, Iron Banner is going to be... Like, I remember when Iron Banner Deathmatch was a thing. And regular Clash.
Clash.
Like, yo, Clash is this week. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Rift is this week. You know what I'm saying? And I think my guess is that for whatever pushback the community... Because let's be honest, the majority loves Control. I mean, it is what it is, right? Maybe the metrics show it, whatever... And I remember there would be like mini revolts in the community. I'm not playing this week because it's this.
It was, but like, it gets so boring though. I mean, that's kind of like,
and make you appreciate the mode you like when it come around. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, yeah, but that's kind of the thing. It's like you take the oddballs, you take the Capture the Flags, you take Rift, you take Clash. Even like to see Clash and Iron Banner and D2 would be like, oh my god, like it's just Clash. Can you imagine if
it would draw people in a totally different way?
Can you imagine if they did Iron Banner momentum control with the way that gun, with the stuff, it's more guns, quick, like different sandbox feel, just to mess with everybody, and they'd be like, oh god, it's all scout rifles, but like just to make it feel different, because as you said, it's Control with some paint. That's all Iron Banner is, and it's like Control with some paint, and like the absolute worst reward system right now. And they've said it's somewhere on a list, but it's not high on the list. And the fact that there's like no direct path after the loot, there's no, like what they did for Trials, just do that to Saladin, at least for now, to give your some consistency of like, hey, if I want to spend 20 tokens on this one weapon, at least a roll on this one, not 20,000 drops later, I'm out of tokens and I didn't even get one of what I was going for.
What I was thinking of as well, the last time Destiny had a interesting temporary like limited time event playlist, it was because they broke the laser
yes
and we had laser tag weekend.
That
is Destiny's version of creating a limited time event with special rules. Is they make a mistake and then everybody just jumps on the meta for like a weekend until they fix it. But like, imagine if they just did like that. Imagine if they just did a laser tag weekend where you could only use laser weapons, or like they did like a all power weapons weekend or something crazy. Like we got Fiesta before the game Halo Infinite is even out. And that's like a crazy game mode. Like
I want Iron Banner, Iron Banner Mayhem. Do it one time. Iron Banner Mayhem. It's just chaos, but it's fun, and who cares? Because you don't really care about Iron Banner anyway. Have fun with it.
Yeah, do Iron Banner snipers only. Do Iron Banner no shields.
Like they have the ability to
like that.
They have the ability to lock down, because you can do Scorch. So they can be like, this is all you get to use. They could literally just lock you into one weapon. You can't switch, and just be like, hey, everybody uses whatever. Like that's what it still burns me that private matches are not custom, because I know you guys are waiting on Forge, which is another thing that will help Halo, which probably can't get here soon enough, but that's going to be 9 months away. Who knows how long Forge is going to be. But the like why we still don't have a way to do custom. Be like, you can use this in this slot and this in this slot, and that's it. And you pick the perks and just set it up, and everybody has like shoddy snipers or
I agree.
Any like I haven't played Splitgate a little.
Modes.
Yeah, I played
letting the community do it.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I played Splitgate a little bit especially for the flavor, but I was like, I was playing it and they have, it's like SWAT, headshots, a one hit kill, and I'm like, little pulse rifle, and it's kind of like your DMTs, a one hit drop, and just like I'm like picking off heads, and I hit a 10 kill streak, and it's probably half bots, but I was like, why is this stuff not in there? And you're saying Halo's just open your eyes to the same thing. I'm like, Destiny has the option, and it's just like at one point, just lock it out. You're just stuck with these two things. That's all you get to use right now. Period. Yeah. I don't know if something with like the code in the back end, they can't like lock out your current weapons that you take in, but they do it with other things. There's got to be a way, and that would open up a lot of. They're using labs for trials. They need to use labs for that type of stuff because they've kind of dropped that ball.
You guys are talking about a tougher formula, right? It's a tougher formula. So we're talking about like replayability. We're talking about getting folks invested in PvP. We're talking about, just attracting just the normal population to PvP, folks that generally enjoy PvP that are maybe bored or, the rewards aren't there. I will say it's probably tougher of a formula for them to design activities, limited time activities, design like an activity structure, across like a week of planning or whatnot that's going to get people invested in playing PvP that week purely to play PvP because they enjoy it, right? And to get good population numbers for that, right? They're like that's tough. That's tough. And it's something that was easier. It seemed easier for them to do in D1 because we did have a variety of different playlists, and population generally was fairly sizable. So it was solid. Certainly we didn't have the population issues I feel like that we have right now with Destiny 2. Now, why is that the case? I'll just cut right to the chase. Loot, like it all comes back to loot. You're not going to get people are going to go through some crazy struggles, they're going to play shit that they don't want to necessarily play or that they don't enjoy as much or they don't even know that they are going to enjoy. A lot of people come around to it because they end up loving a playlist. Trials is a great example of that. A lot of people got straight hooked on Trials, myself included, because the loot's great and the loot ended up getting them over that hump where they got just good enough, just familiar enough with the playlist that they could actually enjoy it. They could actually enjoy it, right? So I guess it all comes back to loot.
I mean, I think
this is a looter shooter. That's how you get people, invested. That's how you pique their interest, is to give them a nice, a nice consistent flow of loot. Loot that is not just consistent, but like you can expect it at certain points. Like it's not RNG whether you get loot or no. The loot itself the roles might be RNG, but when you actually get that loot is very structured for the most part. And so
or what I've been preaching, lock the loot behind reaching certain ranking levels, right? And then they give it to you at the end of the season based on the highest rank you get to. Like there's games that have been doing that for a while, and even if you're not getting rewards every match, it's aspirational. It's like you're silver. Well, the gold reward is a little bit cooler. It's a little bit better. It's got more flair, better cosmetic or whatever. Then that's a reason for you to play 100 matches potentially.
And make that the dope in-game loot. But and then have maybe like mats or like some other type of like lower level loot. I'm tired of mats. Lower level loot, through the actual progression, but it's always going to come back to loot and a little nugget for folks, because unfortunately I saw a few things like Iron Banner is going to get that rework, for Witch Queen. When is actually going to get that rework, and it is going to be kind of dope. It is going to be kind of dope. So I'm gonna just let that sit right there.
Let's just go ahead and not break this man's NDA. Anyway, so no, what actually you guys want a really good idea, but it made me think of something like Fiesta right now for Halo with the event Fiesta. It's like random loadouts, right, that you guys get. But it's like we have all of they want to get into the renewed focus of PvP. And shout out real quick, Gaming Forte with the $10 super chat. I feel so detached.
You muted E. You muted E.
muted E.
You muted.
Sorry,
There you
touched
go.
it. Forte
so
with the
detached.
$10 super chat. I feel so detached at the moment. Crucible has been home for the last few years, but there's nothing for me to keep playing. PvP feels bare bones, and that's saying a lot when the franchise is 7 years old. I mean, it's true.
Yep.
I mean, and that's kind of one of those things. But I was gonna say, like, we do enough holiday events in this game. If they really want to bring PvP into a balanced level, bring in, like, okay, you got 3 weeks of a holiday event, make one of the triumphs, go play 50 matches of this goofy mode that we created. Maybe it is laser tag for that event, and it's just one of those things. You can play it, see how it is, and they could even do like a voting afterwards. Hey, is this a game mode you guys would like to see in rotation? Hey, is there a shoddy snipers? Hey, is there a... If they did an exotics gun game, are you kidding? How much fun would that be?
Oh,
Like the number of exotics,
gun game, that'd be dope.
you have like
That'd be
60 to
dope.
go
Yeah.
through. You could have like gun game
Fire.
1 and gun game 2. You have so
Yep.
many exotics that you could pick from, like, and
Yeah.
those are all going to be static rolls. So you could have your
Yeah.
static rolls taken care of. That type of thing would be, and use your holiday events to like give people, as you said, a reason to play them. Maybe get over the hump of like, hey, do I like it? Do I want to spend time in this one? Some of those Triumph people like Teddy will at least spend time in that and get an idea, is this what they like, as opposed to baking the cookies for the 4th year, which I'm just like, I'm not looking forward to that. So, and then
It's funny you say that, E, because they're actually going the opposite way and destroying the limited time Crucible events. We didn't get our doubles, Valentine's Day.
No, that's what I'm
this
saying.
year,
Like
and-
they're going away
Yeah.
from that. We need to bring
Yeah.
those back. Like, this is part of the PvP piece. Like, if I was like, there's a piece of loot. You say loot, 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 and you even mention mats as you go through. And I'm saying I don't give two like.
Yes, we do.
I have no, but it's like you play enough, you really don't need them.
You're rich.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, you're rich. Let me tell you, PvP players are poor
Poor.
because we do not have access to the mats that you do.
I mean,
we
and
really don't.
that, and then, but give them to you guys. But it's like after a while, that runs out for anyone.
Of course.
Is my point. So it's
Don't
like,
need the loot. Yeah.
so it's like
There's
for-
nothing to spend your mats on, really.
Yeah,
So
there's
that's
like,
a big problem.
you know, literally every class item that drops from me right now is just pissing me off. Whether it's blue, whether it's legendary, I don't need a class item. I have 4. They don't change in stats. I've masterworked 1 of each type. I'm done. Just shut that slot down. Stop dropping it. I don't need a class item until Witch Queen, and then even then, it's just something till I infuse. Like, class items means nothing to me right
Well,
now.
you like the new activity, what they're alluding to. With
I
the way
mean,
loot
I'm
is,
looking
yeah.
forward to, like, you know, seeing what that stuff has, but it's like, it's going to be a Thorn style piece of armor, sure. Functionally, for what my character does for stats or loadouts or anything else, will not change a thing. That's the problem. Like, again, armor, and that's the problem I keep seeing with all of this stuff, just reading between the lines. No major changes are coming to armor right now, and for me, that's just like, it's sad, because again, you can still have 4 sets of armor, and as there is no sunsetting, infusion is still there. All I'm going to do is bump up the numbers on my armor, and my armor will function the same. They might give me a few more mods to go after, but every armor drop doesn't matter to me. Trials armor looks cool, but it doesn't change the way I play. Trials weapons technically can get, you know, you could go after the adept. You can get some different like perks, different stats on those things. Like, they're a little different, but armor across like the whole right side of my character, I just like, and that's one of those things where materials are mostly meant to be spent over there, because again, it only takes enhancement cores on the left-hand side. So all the high-level materials, after a while, just don't do much for me. It's like, and that's the thing you go through. And after I was sitting there on double Nightfall, I think, rewards, and I was playing through, just like I did like 20 runs, and I ended up getting like 50 cores, 20 shards. Did not get that many weapons in the double loot weekend, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Like 20 runs, I think, and I was doing this on match made, so I wasn't doing this on like master, so they will drop higher there. But I was seeing like for a match made person to go in to see how much they would get. I got like 1 to 2 prisms like every time.
Right.
So like that's a good time to farm. Cores were dropping 2 to 5 every strike that we finished up. Weapons were a couple, but then even when you start getting enough prisms, that's a point. So it's like, I know a newer player will have much more to go through, but there is a point to where, like, as you guys have said, the loot in trials doesn't mean much at all. After, even for me, I'm kind of getting to the point where I have Engrams saved up. I'm like, I don't know what I really need to go for now, because I've got like 2 or 3 God Roll reads. Like, I'm good. Shires, I'm starting to get a couple I feel good on. Igneous is probably one where I could still get a good roll, and that's like the only one. But that's like it. Like I'm getting to the point where even me, who's been solo queuing trials and only mostly going after reputation, I am at the point where I'm even running out of loot to go for. And if I'm at that point, the people who are like the rest of you guys that are good at this and go to the lighthouse a lot, you ran out a while ago, which is a problem.
Well, two things I'll make a note of, like things are going to matter more as far as maths and things when we can actually craft.
I'm curious to know about that because
Very
it's
curious.
going to be
When
new
we
materials we
actually
got to
craft.
go earn, but that's a different thing.
Yeah. So I mean, the materials even that we're getting right now, I assume, even if they end up transitioning some stuff over, that's going to matter more when the crafting comes up. That stuff is going to be more important for folks that both play the game a lot and both folks that don't play the game a lot. That's number one. And then number two, what was it? I think I was thinking that like things. Yeah, I think this is actually what it is. Like those mats and things, they still matter to me, at least, because I'm one of those people that plays the game a lot and am invested in just build crafting.
Yeah,
you
me
know.
too. Yeah.
I
run
min-max
through.
the shit out of like
I'm Leo.
all of my builds for PvP, and if I have time for PvE. For like today, I was running through Harbinger missions kind of just on the fly. No, I didn't build craft for that. But trust me, if I had more time, if it was a longer stream, because it was a short stream, it was like 3 to 4 hours. If I had a longer stream, you would have seen me for the first hour, like going through a build craft pretty much on like all 3 of my characters that I had to run on, because I just want everything to look and be crispy all the time, and then we got to get to the fashion side of it too. I ain't trying to go out there. I ain't trying to go out
transmog
there,
now.
Looking,
Transmog
you know what I'm saying?
takes care of that for you. So
yeah, I'm just So
don't need to level those up.
So for me, the mats still matter. I play quite a bit of PvP. Obviously, the mats still matter because every time I build a new, I'm rocking Amkar spawns right now.
Woo.
I made sure that. I got max as much. Obviously, I gotta have my 100 recovery, and then from there, I gotta make sure that my grenades, that grenade energy is up all the time. So 8, 9, or 10 on the grenades. So that stuff, that stuff still matters to me. And so therefore, that again, that leads me back into that stuff is probably gonna matter a lot more once crafting comes through.
That's probably fair in about 3 months. There's a point, I guess, of diminishing returns of the value of those because you are drawing down to like fractions of improvement to a while when you are doing builds. Like depending on how many different builds you want to go for, I guess. But there is a point where I guess there's like diminishing to a point, I guess, of where
to a point. No, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
like,
but then again, with the ability changes, it might end up being more impactful.
I am curious about Void 3.0.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious about that too, because if I get my nade back a decent amount sooner than you, especially when we don't get them quite as often, then I'm clutching that 1v2. I'm clutching that 1v3 because I had a nade up and you didn't. So it kind of actually moves back to year one when a buddy of mine named Fox kind of put me on to the concept of, a lot of people don't spec into their grenade. They spec into their intellect. And it's just like, look, like how many times do you get your grenade often in a match, but you get your super once, maybe twice max if it goes around. Make sure that you spec into your grenade. And so I've always seen benefit in that, just not in practice, but also just conceptually, I've seen benefit in that. And so, yeah, and this is the point I was going to make, was that he made that comment in year one when abilities came through slower, when, abilities more impactful because you didn't get them quite as often. Right. And we're moving, obviously not back to year one, which I would never want, but we're moving a little bit more in that direction, in between, kind of an ability, stasis, maybe beyond light and a year one, we're going a little bit further back to year one. So, the last thing I was going to say too is like loot refresh before I forget, like,
yes.
Like we need a loot refresh, especially in longer seasons, but really that's what's going to help out trials the most population wise, because it just doesn't, like, even people that love the game mode are still probably going to get tired of it. There's very few people that are like me, and I don't care what the loot is, I'm going to play every single weekend. Very few people are like that. Even people that love the playlist, very few people are like that. You have to have a loot refresh, because the people that get all of their loot, all that loot, that is to offer within the first 3, 4, 5 weekends or whatnot, they're for the most part not going to come back. they're not going to come back. Or if they come back, they're just going to play a few games, and that's going to be kind of negligible when we talk about the wider population and the benefits of having that larger population for trials. So like that's got to be the most important and one of the biggest priorities, I feel like, for anything the trials team does is to kind of advocate for a loot refresh, at least one mid-season, to try to keep that population high. Because most times we're not going to have, like it seems, most times we're not going to have as long of a season right now. So if we do that loot refresh, we should be in a much better state, come this time in a season.
And the last point I'll say, I agree with that. And for comp, I would love the old Pinnacle system to come back, because I felt like in relation to the ranking, because I felt like it motivated me to get that, recluse. It motivated me, to get that ranking tied at mountaintop. I remember you in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it motivated you to get in there to attain that rank. Yeah.
That whole system needs I mean, we've beaten that horse to death probably, but comp in its comp and then freelance comp, but just comp in itself, that's the ranking system that needs like the aspiration, that needs a reason to go for it. And when you see people get to Onyx and Halo, you're like, damn. Like, who, like, there's zero, like, what's the point in going for 5,500 right now in comp? Like, people would do it to level up at the start of the season just for the packages because it's easier for, skilled teams. But outside of that, there's nothing in there that's worthwhile. So, no, I would say that pretty much covers trials. Of course, it went a little long, but what do you know?
Something normal here.
Next thing that's coming back, kind of heard rumors of this, but it did actually get confirmed. Moments of Triumph is coming back, and it starts on Tuesday. So we're going to get about 2.5, almost 3 months of Moments of Triumph to work on checking a whole bunch of boxes.
Perfect.
Teddy is going to have something to do for a while. So
it's perfect timing, really. I almost wish that some of the objectives in the Moments of Triumphs required you to boot up older Bungie games. Like, you have to do, it's Moments of Bungie Triumph. Like, you have to go and
you got to go download Marathon on Steam.
Yeah, you got to go beat Marathon, that sort of stuff. That would be amazing. Go play Halo Reach.
Go play Reach.
Like that would be great.
Yeah, you have to go play the entire Master Chief collection.
There you go.
Campaigns on legend really difficulty, like hardest difficulty.
No, not Halo 4. That's not Bungie.
Not that one. Sorry, 1 through 3.
No, 1 through 3. And Reach and ODST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is launching. So they're going to give you a little time to work on that one for your MMIXXII seal. Triumphs will be there. And of course, they got the black and gold. Always a legit good color scheme. The Sparrow looks like, seriously, like a bullet with kind of like the taperings off the back.
Yeah.
I gotta get that emblem. I ain't going.
The ghost, the emblem though, it's like that emblem
with the sword. That's very royal. It's very lordly.
Yeah, very sword, kind of wrapped in its like little ribbon, and you got the little kind of wreaths on each side. Now those, go take a picture at those, and of course there's going to be a T-shirt. No, we're gonna have to get that one. But they got the Strange Coin coming back from D1, dropping a Strange Coin. And somebody even asked, I don't know if it was one of you guys. Oh, it was like before we started, I think. Do you think the Strange Coin is going to be involved in the new, I think it's the 6-player match. We'll get into the 30th anniversary here in a little bit. Do you guys think it's going to be involved in that 30th when we talk about it?
I think there's no way it's a coincidence they brought that back. I think it's probably going to be the currency or the thing we're collecting for this new 6-player event. Like, that'll be the whole. You know how there's always like a currency we're grinding out in the 6 match-made events. That's going to be it. It'll be Strange Coins. That's fine.
You think it's going to stick around beyond the matchmaking event? Because the matchmaking event is probably going to go away after the event, right?
I don't.
After.
Well, the 30th, it's like it's a content add-on. So this is something like if you buy it for PC, you still have to go buy it on PlayStation. So wherever you buy the 30th, that's where you're playing, specifically the dungeon. I think the 6th person is free. But yeah, that content I think is going to be perpetuating into Witch Queen. It's going to be dungeon should stay. And I guess the 6-player would probably stay too.
I think the content will stay. I think you'll be able to hold on to the Strange Coins, but I don't think they'll be useful outside of like this seasonal event. Like, I think it'll just be like a little micro.
Also understandable. I mean,
glass,
not like they need more.
Can we get some glass needles to re-roll my exotics?
Glass needles.
But yeah, so that actually starts Tuesday. I'll be curious to see what the deal is with all of that. Before we get into just kind of the 30th anniversary chat, which I did want to get with you guys on, kind of all the pictures and stuff that kind of exploded today. Armor mods. Real quick, I do want to touch on those. The fact that armor mods are now going to be free. So it's actually something, honestly, I'm pretty surprised that they're doing, because for somebody like Physics over here, if it's free and they said the third-party Destiny apps starting on December 7th can do this, theoretically, people can now make true, like all the way down to the mod crafting loadouts.
Yeah.
So potentially, if you could save a loadout with this armor, put these mods on it, like you could be flying into a trials match, and if you're like looking through what they got, you could switch it over and maybe fast enough have a completely different loadout and mods that match just by clicking one button. That's actually got a lot of potential for actually saving loadouts. Putting it in game would be better, but if like third parties can get it set up, that's actually kind of intriguing.
I'm sure they're already, I'm sure they're already going to be there like day one, right? Because there's no transaction.
Mhm.
But I think it's time to get rid of Glimmer.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything. It's just
what is
gating.
it keeping you from getting at this point?
Buy-
What is it even gating?
it stops
at
you
this point?
from buying the repeatable bounties, because they're 3K. Normal bounties are 250,
see.
which you never feel that much, but the ones, the repeatables, which I guess can give you bright dust, are like 3K. So every so often I'll go through, if I'm doing a lot of bounties, I'm like, why am I low in Glimmer? But it's just buying bounties. But outside of that, that's literally.
Why shouldn't you be able to buy all the bounties?
Oh, I'm not
that
saying you
can
shouldn't,
carry
but
then?
it's one of their
Yeah.
probably like time gating limitation things. Because if you don't have the currencies to go over to Spider or Rahul and Witch Queen or whatever it's going to be, to exchange those and just re-up your Glimmer, that's a way to like slow you down, I guess, on Bright Dust, so you don't get too much. But should it be an issue? No. I mean, Glimmer doesn't serve much purpose on much at this point.
Yeah. The only time I've ever been disappointed in my Glimmer stock is when I'm trying to buy a Trials card. And that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
But
That's when I
the most
realized I'm
expensive
broke.
thing in the game, right? It's a
Yeah.
ton.
That's when I realized I'm
$50
broke. I'm like, yo, I gotta go to the ATM. Y'all be back. Let me go hit Spider right quick.
Yeah. I'll be so happy when it's in the tower. That's long overdue. Like currency exchange, having to go to a different planet and be like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it is kind of nice to see if you're going to be able to apply Armor 2.0 mods, perks, weapon perks. You'll actually be able to switch perks if you want to. Shaders, ornaments, ghost projections, which who cares about some of that. But the perks, the armor mods, those two being able to truly just set up a loadout is can actually be pretty exciting.
That's beautiful. No, that's beautiful because you can do like as far as when I'm building, a new like really, really well min-maxed optimized build. I open up DIM, open up D2 Armor Picker, start in D2 Armor Picker, then I copy and paste it right over to DIM or whatnot. And so to like the only thing that I would love to always do the fashion stuff, in Destiny. Like it's beautiful. Like it's just a beautiful interface and that sort of thing. But yeah, like as far as like it's the other side of the coin, basically, the mods. Like I've already like switched all my armor over. Like why not just put the mods on there? Because the mods are part of the reason why I'm running the build, is because the mods are necessary for me to get the stats, that the armor already provides at base, or that the armor, like you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So so the mods are part of the stats, and the armor is the other half of that. So it just only makes sense that you'd be able to apply both of those things through DIM. And then we can do the fashion and stuff like that inside, which is equally important, by the way. Equally, at least. At least that is the
Gotta look good while you're breaking ankles, right? They're gonna be like, oh man, I can't stand anymore, but he looks good.
But he looks nice though, for real. When he's standing over me like that, he's look nice though.
Crispy.
Yeah.
That's a very fancy tea bag you've got there, sir.
I alluded to it, but I wasn't gonna say it.
Standing over, I was like, I
That
see.
is a man that is indulging in specific activities.
Yes.
I'm just saying, shitter divers need to know. They need to know, okay?
Hey, hopefully that'll be less of a thing coming up in about
Agreed.
4 days,
Agreed.
5 days.
Agreed. A lot of people are gonna have to start using guns. A lot of people are gonna have to actually
Oh
start using
yeah,
guns.
primary game. Yeah.
So the final piece we've got is the 30th anniversary is around the corner, and I wanted to save this to kind of second to last thing. Basically, I've got one other touch for you guys towards the end, but 30th anniversary. So we started to see some pictures drop today. If you look up on Steam for the 30th anniversary pack, you can see one. Apparently, Xur has a horse. It's a celestial horse, it seems like, but apparently the 9 have this horse because somebody had a picture of like the Drifter, and then all the stuff that went.
Stallion.
Do what?
It's Butt Stallion from Borderlands.
I don't even
You
know
guys
the
never-
reference.
You never played Borderlands?
No.
Yeah, somebody just put me onto that today. So
Okay.
But anyway, he's got a horse. There is obviously Xur seems involved in what looks like the 6th person, I think, because he got 6 people standing outside of this like glowing thing, and he also has like Wheel of Fortune with like whatever race you're gonna be playing against. Or I don't know if any of you guys watch Dude Perfect. The Wheel Unfortunate, I think, is gonna be it's like Wheel Unfortunate. Who's your enemy? And it's got Cabal, Taken, Hive, Vex, and Fallen. You got one of each, so it's like, all right, spin the wheel, and I'm guessing see who you're gonna fight against in this 6-person Dares of Eternity. It's gonna be, and it also
By
looks
the
like
way,
what?
if I could derail the show yet again,
Oh,
I feel like I feel like I need to be the guy to say that that's not a horse; it's a unicorn, which is different than an alicorn and also different than a Pegasus. Okay,
all right,
There's-
all right.
Pegasus
all right.
has
There's
his
4
wings.
different
Unicorn has a
types.
single horn. What's the one you said after unicorn?
Okay, so there's a unicorn.
Yeah,
which
that's
has the
single horn. Yep.
There's an alicorn, which has the wings and the horn.
Okay, didn't
And
know
then
that
there's
was
a
a thing.
Pegasus, which has no horn, just wings.
That
Wings.
okay.
And then there's a horse.
Yeah, just
So what you're describing is a
dumpster horse.
unicorn.
Okay.
And I want to pass on this knowledge that I definitely didn't get from watching episodes of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And there you go.
I'm done with you. That was hilarious, by the way. I don't even know what to
There you
say.
go.
There you go. Starstruck.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
that's so we have Xur has a unicorn. Of course, Xur has a unicorn. That's not.
Unicorn.
He's a celestial unicorn with a purple horn. Why wouldn't he? Anyway, that place looks interesting. Apparently, you got Wheel of Fortune of who you're playing against. But we also got the name for the dungeon. It's the Grasp of Avarice.
Avarice is like a deception, a lie.
No,
So
if you
we're
look up
gonna be
avarice,
lied
that's
to?
not. No. Well, it may be a
avarice?
different. Avarice is extreme greed for wealth or material gain.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm thinking of
Is
artifice.
this like the story of Xur? The trial of Xur? Like,
Well, I
we're gonna
mean,
learn
like
that
grasp
story?
of avarice. You're grasping for greed, and we're going into the loot cave. That's the dungeon. So I mean, they nailed
Greed. Got it.
the name very
Got
very
it.
well. I thought that was actually pretty funny. But like the Grasp of Avarice, we're gonna go down. It's like, you know, pirate themed and all that stuff. But like space, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but that is gonna be the dungeon that goes live. Dares of Eternity goes live, and which one are you guys going in first?
What y'all doing? What y'all doing?
Probably the dungeon. It's gotta be
Yeah,
the dungeon.
who's not
Yeah.
going to do dungeon? It's loot
Yeah.
cave themed. It's got Bungie loot in there. Yeah, let's do that.
Should I even ask you, E?
Of course, it's
Like-
a dungeon.
I was saying, like,
Yeah.
you're
I was like, that's not a
Lord
question.
of
Now the
Legends.
question is if I run through by myself first to try and figure it out, or if I probably bring in like a couple people from my chat to run it the first time, so we get through it, figure out the mechanics, and then I work on my solo guide or whatever. I got to figure out content plan for that day. It's probably beat it first because I'm guessing it's gonna kick off the Gjallarhorn quest is when you beat the dungeon. That's my hunch.
Yes,
Is where they would put it.
That's fair.
Is somewhere in there, or it's tied to it, or there's a connection. But I'm guessing that would probably be the best way to, I think, get that going. Is probably do that. So that brings me to another point of the 30th anniversary. Is
Get it.
Gjallarhorn.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
How spicy of a fireball do you think is? How spicy of a meatball, I should say, do you think this Gjallarhorn is going to be? Because I was actually, I think it was Tassie I was listening to one of his. Just they are in an interesting position because Gjallarhorn has they're marketing their delayed season expansion you have to pay for with one gun and a catalyst, so it can't suck. It can't come out like cryosthesia. It can't be like, hey, it can't come out like a turd. But it also, they're afraid of breaking things. So what do you guys, where do you guys think on a scale of like hotness, 1 to 10, where is it going to fall? And 2, what do you think the catalyst is going to do?
It's confirmed it's
Ooh.
Catalyst too.
Catalyst ornament and weapon are coming with this pack.
Wow, Gally got a caddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's confirmed.
Yeah, I mean the catalyst probably has to be like increased tracking or something, right? It's got to. I mean,
it's going to be truth. It's going to be truth, Gjallarhorn. Are you kidding?
Here's what I think.
It's terrifying.
Let's be honest.
Truth plus Eyes of Tomorrow. It's just going to be a better Eyes of Tomorrow.
Oh my God.
No,
it's going to be like truth.
I don't know.
It comes back and then it's like, all right.
Gjallarhorn in its final form.
Yeah, it's power level 9,000 now.
I'm thinking it's got to like come through at least at like a 7 or 8. It's just got a history. It's got, it's got so much history in the community. I don't think it's like the last word. It can't come through neutered. It can't come through neutered. Last word didn't come through neutered.
I think it will.
You think it will?
So
I think it will. I don't think they
then?
can make it as strong as it was. So I think that
I don't think
it'll be kind of it'll be meh without the catalyst, and the catalyst will make it pretty good. But it'll that's what I think it'll be. I
think it could be kind of nice because it's heavy. You don't have to worry about it really breaking PvP too much because it is heavy, and heavy doesn't come up like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of heavy in PvP right now, right?
I don't think they're worried about PvP at all. I think they're worried about PvE.
Sure,
especially with Witch Queen on the horizon.
Yeah, Witch Queen raid.
They could always nerf it by Witch Queen though. That's like months, and that could be.
There's nothing to use it on during this period, though,
it could be one of the things to hold everybody off until Witch Queen to make us feel powerful in PvE. I don't know.
I can see this.
I can see that for sure.
Make it strong off the bat, at least until Witch Queen. Than to because you got to get people to come back too. A lot of people have moved on to other games because the season's been long. I think there's more of a reason to make it strong out the gate than there is to kind of neuter it out the gate. To be honest,
I would agree because I think that let's be real, like the populace outside of the hardcore is probably going down. You got to get people back, right? And they've historically have overtuned things. Have come in hot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like even with what was that sword that the Final Fantasy VII looking sword that is super OP when it debuted? Oh man, why am I forgetting it with Clovis Bray, the anti-barrier exotic sword?
Lament.
There we go.
Lament.
Like Lament was when Lament first drop. Yeah, man,
that was busted. Oh, I can't wait. By the way,
nasty.
random tangent. I can't wait for Arbalest to be barrier. Oh. Because right now it's like I don't want to use an auto rifle, but if I can go legendary, linear, and I can break shields and barriers. Ooh, I'm looking forward to that.
The only thing I want to see is, besides, I'm with Trav on this though. I think we reach final form when we get that Caiatl. When that Caiatl is going to be ignorant. That I'm actually looking forward to is kind of when Deathbringer had its moment was when you threw that Warhead mod on top of it with the rocket launcher with the extra 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
That's when it could get stupid. So I could just see like 6 people in a raid, clips of Atheon getting melted in seconds, and Gally's back. See, they want that. Get the hype.
And then get the marketing, get people to come back for
marketing. Then Witch Queen, you know what? We realized, like how Vex, we realized it was a little over too.
Came out a little hot.
Came a little hot. Minus 30% on the Wolfpack route.
Yeah, the cayenne pepper was a little high. We pulled back a little bit on that spice.
I don't know, man.
What you think, Trav?
I think they thought that that's what they were doing when they made Stasis. I thought they were doing that thing where they go, oh, we'll make it a little overpowered on purpose, and it'll be like tongue in cheek, it'll be fun, and people will have fun with it, and then we'll nerf it. And I think them trying that with Stasis, and then it backfired entirely because everybody hated it immediately.
They knew that was coming in hot. Like they even knew.
Oh, they of course knew it was coming in hot. But that's my point: is that I think they're not going to make things knowingly come in hot as often anymore because they saw how bad that could go wrong. You know what I mean?
But
broke
the
whole sandbox.
Fundamentally, but Gally's not going to fundamentally break PvP because the thing is, people weren't complaining about Stasis in PvE. Like
no, if anything, Titans still suck at it, but that's fine.
Yeah, so I mean, like
dude, your Warlock Stasis in PvP, you can't shake your head. In PvE,
But God forbid the Titans don't have everything in every class.
No.
Why does everybody think that we do? We've always been the class that get out of here.
Yeah. Anyway.
Get out of here.
Oh, we doing a Titan pity party? That's what we doing.
No, not pity. Titans do not complain. That is part of our creed.
Well,
we leave that to hunters.
We got
Hunters are
one
the
on the
complainers.
Yeah.
Hunters are the complainers.
Oh damn! So physical come in.
We do not complain in the Titan
It's true.
world.
In PvP,
It's true. Hunters complain. That's their role.
My favorite.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh man,
my clanmate.
This is the same thing we did last time, man. No, but I'm saying like in PvP at least, like warlocks have been kind of like the, a lot of times they get some pretty extreme nerfs. Warlocks, I feel like in PvP, and it's just there's an inconsistent presence of.
They've had some
warlocks.
OP stuff too.
They have.
This man loses his mind.
It's really inconsistent. Till Top Dawn came around, for example, warlocks weren't truly on the map in PvP consistently. It's till Top Dawn came around. Like it was kind of niche, to get warlocks over like a Titan or a hunter. Like if there's any to try to be as objective as possible, if there's any class, that needed love,
get a slap.
That needed love.
Hey, do you want to know how strong? You want to know how strong warlocks were? Just look how hard they nerfed. What's the Nova Warp one?
Oh,
that was so strong. They nerfed it into the ground. They were so scared of that thing, and it's been trying to come back to life. And again, they took it too far, but that's how scared they were of that Nova warping going around. And handheld supernova's still been a thing.
It really does seem like I've noticed the pattern with warlocks is when warlocks do end up getting that OP status, they come in like hard, like fucking strong.
These dudes be running around for weeks with Roman supers that lasted the season of the hammers, the mask of I could see you through the wall when I tracked you. Don't get me started.
You can freeze me in my super, and I'm a ball of fire.
Yeah. And look
that's
how
still a thing.
That's
still a thing.
I think I agree with you. I just think that you guys are allowed to misbehave longer. When we finally get something, the big hammer comes down.
So I think the difference is
I really don't
outside of when
our supers haven't been this bad.
Outside of when hammers started OP, you popped the hammer. No. I get to say. No. I was like hammers. Yeah, when you heard that OG clank, everybody ran, and then that was the biggest shutdown for Titans. Now I will say that for sure. But I will also say, like, the Warlocks have had bigger peaks with some of their OP-ness than Titans have since then, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and
the peaks have
Titans
been higher.
have always
all I'm
been
getting
middle
at.
of the pack. Their peaks are lower, but their weaknesses are also lower. They're sort of just like the moderates of the world. That's why I say Titans don't complain. We just deal with what's going on. We let the Warlocks cry. We let the Hunters especially cry.
Hunters be crying, yo. You let them ego everybody. You let the Hunters do whatever they're gonna do.
We all agree there. We all agree there. I do feel Hunters complain the most.
Oh, they do, man. And it's like okay, everybody knows that your guys' are the most made for PvP. Like we get it. You have the jump that's
if you
best
actually
for PvP,
listen
you
to
dodge around.
If you listen to Kevin Giannis,
still complain.
He agrees with that.
Yeah.
No, but if you actually listen to what is it,
Fireside Chat.
Fireside Chat. Yeah, the one with the 5, like, Fallout, Cool Guy, Merc, all them. Kevin Giannis says he's like, we're okay with the class being better in PvP. They basically they know that hunters are better in PvP, and that dodge that they're going to get a little clip in the hamstring there, but like the dodge is still one of them. Firing range. Thank you. I'm just blanking.
Mm-hmm.
They flat said it. Like, there you go. It's like there's a reason, because it is that dodge is the most functional thing in PvP. You can put up a wall that's slow. The well has some benefits now, especially with your little turrets and stuff, but that dodge can change the course of any gunfight faster than anything else.
Break tracking on tracking things towards it. Now they finally nerfed that. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the thing. I remember throwing an Axiom bolt, and my bolt gets confused because of the wall of walk. Like, all I got to do is just dip and be like, yeah, please. Yeah, that thing ain't catching nothing.
Yeah. So, but I will say on the other side, PvE as a hunter, when I've run it, which I haven't run in a while, I've been on my Titan for a while, but PvE as a hunter on the other side, I tend to feel squishy. So but granted, the invisibility has been a pretty beneficial thing for groups at least. So they have their ups and downs on sides for sure. We tend to follow.
Warlocks are like the best for PvE.
Yeah.
Hunters tend to be the best for PvP, and again, Titans are the
And
moderates.
kind of the middle ground. Yep.
Pretty good at both.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have our ups, we have our downs. Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to ask you guys as we get close to 2 hours here, and I was actually talking with chat the other night and thinking about this one as well. We're on this 10-year saga. I know this is going to take us off a little tangent, but I kind of want to see what you guys think. We're on this like 10-year saga. We know we've got Witch Queen, February 2022. Lightfall, hopefully 2023. Final Shape, 2024. How do you guys expect us? Because they say Destiny 2 will continue. And I was just a random question of how you guys think the franchise will continue. If Destiny 2 will continue, will they bring back Static by that time? Is it going to be a clean sweep and this is like you're making a new character, but Destiny 2 is still around? Are the planets still going to be here? Are we going outside of the solar? Like, if Destiny 2 will continue as they said, or does Bungie not even know right now, which is kind of what we may have come up with, how do you think, and this is the other pieces, like you go, so the big pieces of the story are the expansions. Generally, our seasons are telling a lot more stories, but how do you take it to where Witch Queen, new planet, that one, and we're going to have season 17, 18, 19 stuff that takes us through to Lightfall. Then we're going to have the big expansion, the content, all that stuff, probably a new destination, season. Then you get the Final Shape expansion. Are there going to be seasons attached to that? Does the final season, which is like, I think I did the math, season 27, is that final season going to just like wither off to the end? Is that going to carry us over? So it's just a random question I want to ask you guys. Where you think the franchise is going to end, like season 20 or 24 for Final Shape, season 27. Where do you guys think this whole 10 years is going to wrap, and how will it go forward? Because I got to the point, because if the final expansion still has seasons, I have to wonder a lot of what's the point. And yeah, please for the love of God, give us vault space by then. Yes, I agree with that.
No.
I've got thoughts.
Yeah, my thoughts are that I tend to agree that I don't think Bungie knows the answer yet. I think they probably told us a little bit after internally they had kind of decided that this was the direction they wanted to go as a company, and that the teams were still interested in working on Destiny. I think they probably still don't know exactly what that looks like. But I'm of the opinion that the End of Darkness and Light saga, the Final Shape, is going to have seasons afterward, because I think that the transition from Destiny 2 Darkness and Light Saga to non-Darkness and Light Saga is a softer reboot than we might be thinking, right? We're thinking of it as like one game ending and a new game beginning. And I think they're just thinking of narratively kind of resetting and having kind of like a reboot of like the things we talk about, less about darkness and light and less about the struggle against this ancient evil, and more about like what's next, like how could we take this saga to a different era and talk about different stuff. I think that's how they're thinking about it. So I think there will probably be seasons after the Final Shape that sort of serve as a connective tissue between the End of the Darkness and Light saga and whatever this new story is. Just like the seasons this year have sort of transitioned us from Beyond Light to Savathûn and Witch Queen. I think it'll probably be very similar. That said, I think there will probably be some things that they need to overhaul that are bigger, and it's more of a question of if those fit into the timeline. Because we've talked about a lot the need for a new engine, or for them to revise the engine or do something there. And so my question is, if there's still going to be Destiny 2, is there going to be an engine update that happens around that same time, or can they even afford to wait that long? That's a even bigger question, right? Can they wait that long, or is that something they're going to have to do even sooner? And so I think story-wise, it's more of a philosophical, we're ending one story and we're beginning another. We're not ending one game and beginning another, but there probably are other things on a game level, like the engine, that are represent, in my opinion, bigger changes that they're probably going to have to address, maybe even before then. If they manage to hold out till 2024 with the same engine, I would be really impressed, because I have no idea what the gaming landscape looks like in 2024. But I'm guessing we have an Xbox Series X2 and a PS5 Pro, and I'm guessing things look a lot different than they do now. And I don't see the engine, if it makes it that far, it will be chugging like, you know, it'll be on its deathbed by the time it gets there. So we'll see, though. I mean, Halo's replacing its engine for the very first time with Halo Infinite. It's been 20 years. Same engine, Blam engine. This is the first game that has a new engine. So
we'll
see.
What is it?
The Blam engine.
Blam.
And now it's Slipspace. That's
now
the new one. The new one.
Yeah, Tony, I'm curious, man. What you thinking long term?
Oh man, man,
caught him off guard here. Caught him off guard. All right, sweet.
No,
I got one.
Didn't necessarily. I guess a little bit. It's not something that I've thought about a lot. I will say within the one thing that immediately came to mind was their hiring decisions. I mean, everybody has probably been following the fact that they have they've hired some narrative like movie people, right? Some like so they could actually. It seems like Destiny and Bungie's going to go in the direction of producing some media for movies, television, etc.
Give me the Destiny Arcane carryover on Netflix.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. That being the case, since you know that whole media market is kind of very, very, very rebooty, right? For lack of better words, I think we would expect more of a reboot than a continuation. I think we would expect some fresh directions, especially since you know we kind of got a fairly straightforward carry on from Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 as far as the narrative focus, right? You know, light still remained. Now we have light and dark. It was basically, you know, Destiny 2 is just Destiny 1. I mean, especially considering the fact that we didn't really even get that many like engine upgrades and things along that side until what was it, like last year, I guess, with Beyond Light, right? So so yeah, you know, I would expect more of a reboot, I guess is what I'm saying, is what I'm thinking. Taking us in a much more fresh direction than we got with the Destiny 1, Destiny 2 transition. What is it going to look like that final year? I would always expect that final year, that final 6 months to be kind of like a Rise of Iron type of situation where they aren't able to really hold down like heavy resources, you know, coming into Destiny 3, where if it's Destiny 3, it's like it's kind of like now. A new engine. It's got to be on a new engine, 100%. It's got to be a new engine, and that's probably going to take quite a bit of their resources. I mean, they're expanding, right? But still, it's going to take quite a bit of their resources. So, if I was going to guess, I would definitely look for a very, very chill, stagnant, live team only type of like hands-on thing going for like last like 6 months, 9 months. And I would expect more of a reboot than anything else going into Destiny 3. Those are kind of my thoughts based on, you know, what I've seen in the context surrounding what Bungie's going through specifically as a company and their hires and that sort of thing.
Completely agree with both of you. I think you guys are both on fire. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. You know, them cementing Destiny 2 will continue to me show that the roadmap is way longer. I do think the final, I'm not getting caught up with the final shape stuff, because I'm with Trav. I think that is just narrative beat. I think that the story will continue, seasons will continue, and I think it's all contingent. Whatever. The
crossfade to the next, like one blends in over the other one, and then you're moving on.
This is just a narrative thing.
All ends are beginnings, as the Stranger told.
They're just gonna break down some new narrative beats, and it'll probably be interesting and cool. But what I agree with Tony is the fact that if you look at, we just did a Defining Duke about this, and I brought up Destiny, and it comes down to the interest of the games industry and the movie industry right now, kind of having this marriage, this relationship where they can both be lucrative. And I think they're seeing it right now, because you're seeing things like The Witcher. You're seeing when it's actually done right and the attention is paid to the lore. And then we've got the evidence right before us. I mean, we've seen Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy now be elevated to the purveyors of the Destiny universe for music, TV, film, or whatever. So they're looking to expand this thing to the outstretches and really take Bungie to the next level. And I think that's still part of the plan. Now, ultimately, I know this, you ain't gonna like this part because I know how you feel about the engine.
Okay.
I think ultimately what happens is that we're still stuck with D2. They'll iterate slowly, right? They'll iterate on engines on the back end stuff. That's why I think Destiny Content Vault exists, because there's that size limitation, reboot it out, bring it through, but that's going to keep D2 longer in the tooth. But what I do agree with Travis said eloquently is that at some point, the base PlayStation, everyone will be at the next generation and maybe by the end of Final Shape and stuff. And then they can financially, as a corporation, say, okay, we have the engagement now. Everyone's on the next gen platforms. They're on the high end PCs. The base, we've pushed the limit there, and then they can kind of justify it. But right now, with the chip shortages, the adoption rate being very hard on next generation consoles, they can't justify making a D3 right now. And I think ultimately that's kind of where we are right now. So it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. I think my prediction is going to be sunsetting. I think will return at some point. I still going to start staying on it. I think sunsetting will return at some point. They'll ease it in some way, some fashion, because of power creep. I think that because that really technically hasn't got eliminated, and I think that, we're just going to get more story. We're going to get more story, more seasons, that kind of bit, and they will keep content vaulting and adding new stuff to ease chagrin. Sorry, I know how you feel about it. I want the engine too. I want dedicated. You know how it is. I want dedicated servers.
Yeah,
I want all that stuff. It's just
I just don't think that's gonna happen for D3. I honestly just don't.
Yeah,
I think they will.
You think there will be a D3?
I think that I don't know if there'll be a D3. That's a good question. They might just stick with whatever their new IP is and then just let that run after Destiny finishes, or they might start up a new IP in order to, supplement whatever their new IP is and where that new IP leaves, what's lacking, in comparison to Destiny, the Destiny franchise. But what I do not see happening, honestly, in Destiny 2's, lifetime. Is I don't see it going to a brand new engine, and I don't see dedicated servers. I just definitely don't. They've got smart people over there. They're working on it. They continue to, be on top of it as far as, the best that they can. What I do see is they just continuing to be creative about how they keep this series alive, and productive.
I gotta shout out to Tiger Ridge, and I'll do my Saget Tiger uppercut voice. Sorry.
Tiger uppercut.
Tiger. It's all about the
Street
Tigers.
Fighter
and
2.
Yeah, Tigers
there.
and cheetahs. Throwback, man. Throwback. E.
I mean, I'm somewhere between all of you guys. I think the biggest thing is I think it makes sense that it is going to be some type of blend. I think it's just going to feel weird. Is what I wonder about the whole blend. If Lightfall's the end of the Light and Dark saga, if they say Destiny 2 will continue, as you said, sunsetting feels like it kind of has to come back, or is that when they do do they do a reset at that point with do they wipe your vault? Is there a point where they do actually clean you out? That's one
like a narrative beat for it.
Yeah, they blow up the tower again for some reason or whatever. That's because at some point we are sunsetting power creep, sunsetting. How many horizontal moves and perks can we get? I know, Tony, you like making builds, but it's there's going to be a point where they run into a limit or a wall of okay, we can only reiterate this stuff so many times. So I wonder
if they want to fix some of the narrative problems with Destiny 2. One of the outs they have is killing our character at the end of Darkness and Light. That solves a few problems. It means that the next game can be more focused on narrative and actually give us voice actors and not be so attached to this kind of semi-silent protagonist that we've known for all these years. It can also clear out our vault space and give a fresh restart to the loot that we have and all that stuff. There's also changes to the world, stuff like that, but there could be a reason that our Guardians aren't around anymore, or possibly Guardians entirely aren't around anymore. We really don't know
what are we?
Yeah, we don't know what the world is going to look like at the end of the Darkness and Light saga. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to be out with the old and with the new narratively. It also kind of fits with how long I think the game can probably exist without needing a refresh. You got to admit, you got to assume that by the final shape, it's
7 years,
very close to where it's going to be very close to where it was at with the Season of the Drifter. When we were all at max power creep levels before they finally implemented sunsetting. So it's going to be pretty bad.
But yeah, it's like that's again like questions. I'm like, I don't know what their plan is for that type of stuff. But as you guys say, there's the movies, there's the TV shows, it's like, and there's amazing stories they can tell. But yeah, it's like there is the matter, the other IP, whether it's like a cartoon animated hero shooter or who knows, whatever, this thing's a little more like lighthearted. But again, they said like Destiny 2 will continue in some way. And as you guys have said, is it just the patents where it's like they don't change the Destiny 2 name? That's one of the reasons. Like I've heard, what is it? Dota 2 doesn't change is because they have that name so many places. They don't want to do a Dota 3. They just do whatever they do with that. Same principle for like Destiny 2 is like, it is Destiny 2 because that is just what it is called everywhere. That like websites and everything else is just like stuck, and that's fine. But how does it come back? What do we go forward? It was just one of those things I thought about, and I'm like, I kind of wonder how, whatever the transition is, how we go forward. As you said, are we in that grave at the end of the corridors of time that we found? And is that the way? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
Where we actually wrap up our character's story as a guardian, and then we're, who knows, something else at that point.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those random things. Like I got to talking myself in a circle, and I was like, I don't know how they end this thing, but also go forward. Just weird. Random thought I had. Sorry to take us down that tangent, but I thought it was something.
No,
that
it was
kinda,
great. It was a great tangent.
Great tangent.
I haven't thought about it too much, so that's it was great.
Well, now I've planted that weird seed of Inception in your head. Good luck with that. Have fun.
And now we all have a reason to live until 202024. We have to find a way.
We
to
have
get
to
there, guys.
know. Yes,
We gotta
We
know.
have to
We
figure
gotta
it out. We
know.
gotta know.
Gotta see how
This
it
is it.
all comes together. Well, anybody else have anything else? I think at this point we've probably hashed out a pretty good episode.
You hit it.
Yeah.
Just shout out to the weapon ornament changing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You can
shout out.
That's just
Yeah.
Eververse creeping
Strong
into your
quality of
ornament screen. That's all. Eververse is
that's kinda
Ava
true.
Levante is
I'm
just
for it,
right
though.
there. Easy access Eva. She's like easy access. That's just like pull out your cell phone and be like, oh, it's your microtransaction in your mobile game now. That's
Listen,
Ava
man.
Levante is now on your weapons.
I've been wanting the ornament I want on demand for a long time. So
And,
this for me.
shout out to our longest running segment. We didn't get
Yes.
to do it today,
We
even
didn't
though we had a PvP main here.
I
I mean,
know,
you could
I
ask him
really
real
do.
quick. Give him
You
one.
can
Give
ask
him
him real quick.
Yeah,
Ask
yeah.
him real
Knock
quick.
it out.
Come on,
All
let's
right,
get it out.
if we want, yeah, we can
Let's
do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Tony, my friend, we have a
Yes, yes.
longest running segment here on the show. It's been around for well, who can even remember?
Who can even remember?
Probably got a pretty fine point when you joined the series, but that's fine.
Yeah, the segment is called "Let's Help Ebontis," and it is a segment I like to do when we bring PvP mains on to help Ebontis get out of the depths of serfdom that he exists in,
Serfdom.
as in the world of competitive Destiny. So the way I like to do this is I ask our PvP main guest, what is one tip that you think every PvP aspirant player should know that might make them a better player? We've heard the 2-second rule. We've heard the what is it? The 1/6 rule, where you should always
60-40, like, yeah, that was
cover. Yeah, 60-40 rule, whatever that one is.
Yep.
Are there any tips that you have that are just sort of like a good rule of thumb to help Ebontis's thumbs be a little less clumsy?
Almost there. You almost got it.
Man, that's a
got it.
tough one. That's a tough one. I'm sure I've got something that's kind of like an over. I'm trying not to be vague with my play with intention one. I don't think that's specific enough. Let me
But
see.
that's a good. I mean,
good
explain
one.
what
No,
you
I
mean.
think
there.
that's a good overarching one. I mean, what I mean by that, folks, if people don't understand exactly what I'm saying by that, is play with intention. Don't just drop when you drop into a game and you're trying to play for improvement. Like you are playing with the intention for improvement. Therefore, you are being mindful of how you are playing. And then once you finish playing, whether it be that engagement, whether you're finished playing that game, you are going back in your mind and you are trying to figure out, okay, well, I should have done this right here. Oh, I did a great job with that. It's kind of like being mindful in the moment. I mean, whether you record your gameplay to watch later, this is kind of like a microcosm of that. Like in the moment being mindful of how you were playing, how you were engaging, and then switching things up, almost immediately in order to kind of rectify or to double down on something that you thought you did really well in engagements. So that's kind of like we could talk about that for like a while. But if I was going to give something a little bit more specific, and kind of in the same vein as that, if you're playing a trials game, for example, or even sixes, don't worry about this person over here. Worry about that engagement in front of you. If you watch me play, you will see me laser focused on one person in front of me. That's it. That engagement, even though there is somebody right next to them over here and there's somebody right behind me. If I don't give ultimate 100% focus on the person that I'm engaging with, that I'm shooting at that time, then I don't 3-tap that person. I don't 3-tap that person with my hand cannon. And when I don't 3-tap that person with my hand cannon and I get like a body shot, it takes me longer to kill that person, to eliminate that person. So I can't shift my focus then off to the next person, or I can't recover, or whatever else. Or I get team shot because that person stayed alive for just that split second longer. And now it gives this person over here that time to like slide in. So if there was like a tip, it's just like, don't worry about dying to the second person. Don't worry about that second engagement, that third engagement that's going to happen in the future. Worry about that one engagement in front of you. Give that person your full attention. Now, there are exceptions like target switching and things like that, but we can get into that later. But that's got to be the thing I see people get distracted with the most whenever I'm running my community customs, is just like they're so worried about this or that over there, which are important things to worry about. They may end up being a threat. But you can't control everything. Control that one thing in front of you. Make sure you get a good engagement right there. Get the optimal TTK, and then you can make a decision. Then you can make a plan for the second person. Then you can make a plan for the third person. I'm a very serial player for the most part. And what I mean by serial,
serial
and not
killer?
parallel.
Yeah, I like that. Right off the phone book.
In more ways than one.
Oh, boy.
One by one. Mark them off the list.
Serial player
Yes. Kill him,
sounds
kill him.
like a
Also-
really,
also,
really
I know
talented
somebody's been
chauvinist.
talking-
Serial
Oh, boy.
player. Yeah,
Yes, I like
that's called a
serial
gigolo. We're moving on.
We can make a lot of jokes about that, but all I'm saying is, like, if folks are familiar with the concept of like a serial pattern versus like a parallel.
So is this
somebody
like grape
playing
nuts
in
versus
parallel,
cinnamon toast crunch? Or
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
I knew he was getting it.
This is what you're dealing with on this show. This is our IQ level. You're talking about like the actual definition of cereal, and we're here with our Wheaties wondering what the heck you're talking about. This is our level.
Okay. I go from one engagement and give my full focus, my 0 to 100 is everything that I do. And so I give my full attention to Cognito. And then once Cognito's down, then I give the next person the attention. And then I give the next person. Whether that ends up working out or not, that's how I still play it. Because yeah. If you try to focus on too many things, too many players at the same time, then you're going to end up splitting your attention, and you're not going to give, you're not going to give yourself the best. You're fighting 1v3, fight 1v1s, fight 1v1s.
Right.
That's why you see people run around the map in like a 1v3 situation. You see them running around the map trying to isolate 1v1s. And even when I'm facing 3 people, I use cover to try to isolate 1v1s. If 2 people are like right here, but I've got one person right here, I just make sure I angle myself behind cover so I'm blocked from these 2 people, and I can take out this one person. Then once this person's down, angle myself a little bit more, take out this next person, keep this person over here so that I'm behind cover from that person. Take that person out, and then angle again. I've done it like I do it all the time. And so that's the play. Focus on that one engagement in front of you. And don't worry about whether you die to like the second or third person. You're just in a better situation when you can give 100% of your attention and 100% of your shot, 100% of your skill to that one person in front of you, and then keep moving from there.
That's right.
Hard to go wrong with that one.
And after you beat him, teabag, and cereal emote. Salute.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I did want to actually say, like, I knocked out, I haven't done a lot of catalyst in a while. I think I finished up like 15 catalysts or some stupid amount that I did. I got sleeper to drop. My sleeper catalyst had not dropped, and I've done more Nightfalls than I know. So that finally dropped. I'm like, okay, so where am I going to go do this? I went into the throwaway.
Just in time.
Went into the throwaway, and I started working on one. I was like, well, I need to shoot other stuff. So I'm like, okay, what other things? I started just pulling out. I had one. I'd start switching weapons between what ammo's sitting on the ground and going back and forth. And then I had to take cryosthesia into PvP. That one hurt.
Yeah.
But I will say, I was like, somewhere I read, and so I remember somebody saying, it's like, I had better luck at doing this in Rumble. So I took it into Rumble, and I tried to pair it with something reasonable on the other side for a little bit more range or something. But I was like, I will say, like, the little bit of time that I spent in Rumble, and I haven't played Rumble in forever, it is a very good way, as Tony said, work on your one-on-ones. And because all of those are typically going to be there. Now, granted, as you said, you can focus on this one and get shot and finished up over here. But if you beat that one-on-one, that's what almost all of those are going to be. So if you want to practice your one-on-one skill, whether it's range, understanding a map, or seeing those pieces, like if you beat them in the gunfight, then you can start applying that in other places. And I was just going to say, it's like, don't totally sleep on Rumble. You may get stomped, and I'll get stomped plenty, because there's like, I'll be like, oh, you're tied for third at 9, and the other guy's at like 20. I was like, well, I got some, but it's like, it is a way for you to practice that one-on-one gunfighting. So it was a way that I was like, I hadn't done that in a while. I did finish it, but yeah, that was probably the hardest catalyst I did.
Yeah, it's a good test for me too. When it's sometimes I like to see the efficiency of specific weapons that I sometimes fall in love with, but how good are they in certain one-on-one engagements? And I like to test out. Rumble's good for that. And like you said, like Tony said, just the focusing, that razor focus on engagement, it really helps you refine your skills. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap this thing up, the floor is going to be yours, sir. Physics, Tony. I called you both at some point, so where can people find you? What do you like doing? Where can they jump into your customs and get you to review that? What do you got going on? The floor is yours. Let them know where they can find you, when, and how.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much again for always being so kind and bringing me out here. And we just always have such great conversations. And I love hearing you guys' perspectives. All you guys are such smart people, knowledgeable people, and I always learn something, you know. And so, yeah.
This coming from the guy with the master's in engineering, by the way.
Salute to him.
Look,
Who knows
degrees
the
ain't
definition
everything.
of
Degrees
cereal?
ain't everything, you know? So, oh boy. So I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. As far as where you can find me illPhysics on Twitter. You can find me illPhysics on Twitch. Those are my two biggest platforms. In Discord, it's discord.gg/illPhysics. Jump in the Discord. It's a public Discord. We got a great community, over 1,000 strong in there. Just awesome, beautiful people. I hinge my community very heavily on being inclusive, being thoughtful as well. So, I mean, you know, a lot of what I do with regards to streaming and on Twitter is kind of cultivating a community that is, again, thoughtful, inclusive. That, you know, people think critically, people think about other people's feelings and don't just say some weird shit. And all of us to hopefully, you know, like grow, whether it be, you know, in Destiny or whether it be just in our lives, in our friendships, in our relationships. So that's the goal. You could find me you could go to my link tree that is on my Twitter, and you can find the rest of my links or whatnot. But it's illPhysics on the big ones: Twitter, Twitch, Discord, YouTube, and then, you know, it's illPhysics on a couple of different things. But just go to my Twitter. You can just go to the link tree and figure out everything else. As far as my content, what you can expect is a lot of PvP in Destiny. I am a PvP main in Destiny, but I love PvE. I love Gambit. You'll see me take breaks. Thursday is usually the day, like today on stream, we did Harbinger runs, Harbinger help. And I love PvE. I love, like I said, Gambit. I just do more of PvP just to, you know, keep my skills sharp, and I enjoy the activity itself, the mode itself, more than the other two. But gotta stay sharp. Gotta drop some people, right? So
yes, sir.
Otherwise, we do get into some variety every once in a while. Most definitely, usually, if it's leaning more towards the weekend, the Phasmophobias, you know, the Jedi Fallen Orders.
Okay.
You know,
we doing that. Okay.
We are
okay.
trying to,
We
you know,
diversified
keep
our
it
portfolio.
Are you going to be playing Elden? Are you going to play Elden Ring?
I'm gonna try Elden Ring for sure. It's not the type of game I usually play. That is for sure.
Well, you said
but
Fallen
it is
Order,
a game...
which is like, it's like not baby's first like Souls, but it has more of that intentional combat to
No,
it.
it's true.
So
No, you're absolutely true. Yeah, that's absolutely right. You know, it looks absolutely amazing,
yeah.
and that's really the thing that's going to get me on most like Hades, for example. Like it's not the type of game I would normally play either, but that is a
Oh,
game that is
good.
100% on my list. 100% on my
Oh,
list.
you,
just
when
because
you
it
you better
looks
find some
and just
time to
looks
like
amazing.
dedicate to that if you got like downtime in a Destiny season. Hades is one of those games. Like I haven't done that many roguelikes, and I think I played it at the start of the season. And New Rad might be able to correct me. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah,
Every
that's
run
what I've
you
heard.
want to keep going, and they do so many things. The progression and the story make like it to be one of the best roguelikes I've ever played.
Yes.
I've heard amazing things. I read the review, I think on IGN as soon as it came out. So yeah, I'm excited to try it. I don't get the opportunity to try new games often, but it is definitely on my list. And so that's my point with Elden Ring is it just looks beautiful. I don't care if it looks amazing. You know, it has a great trailer. It seems like it has some solid lore to it. Like a narrative is always going to be something that hooks me. That's the same thing. Like I love a great narrative in a movie or in a series, great character development. Then that's something that's generally going to get me to try it these days. So, yeah. Every once in a while you get some variety. As far as you know, kind of community oriented content that I do in Destiny. The main one that folks know me for is something that we do on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern called Community Customs. And that's where I kind of get back to my community and the wider community at large. And like, I never want to gatekeep really anything, knowledge, whether it be from streaming or from video editing and things like that. Somebody asked me, I'm gonna try to give that experience in a very detailed way so that, you know, folks can up their game as well. I want to be able to kind of, I like the concept of all ships rising together, you know, not just me, you know, I see more benefit in that community wise. So Community Customs is a great way for me to do that and for me to share that 7 years of high level PvP experience. And it's where I don't play the customs myself. I spectate through the eyes via either like a Twitch stream or a YouTube stream. Like everybody streams, or to the Discord, which is more likely. Everybody streams individually, one by one. They play customs in a trials format, and I spectate and I listen through, and then I have my pad and I write down for that individual, constructive feedback, constructive criticism with regards to their gameplay and what I see and what can help them. But also, at the very least, equally, what's important as well is to double down on things that they do great. You know, the positives that I like, whether it be great plays, great reaction, great thinking, great shooting, or whether it be something super creative that I just haven't seen before that I want to make sure that they double down on, because I want folks to have fun first and foremost. It can't just be that, like, people get burnt out if it's all just about competitive play, just trying to get better. That's the focus. No, in the end, the focus has to be falling back on, hey, I'm having a good time, I'm having fun. You know, I'm using a build that I want to use, even though it may not be a meta build, even though it may not be a competitive build. It's something that I really enjoy, and I want to make sure that I
be with Lord of Wolves.
It's something that I reinforce, you know, and that folks see benefit in. So anyway, that's Community Customs. It is open to everyone. All you have to do is jump into the Discord. Like I said, discord.gg/illPhysics, and hop into the general chat and just at me. You know, at Tony, or, you know, whatever my role is up there, Still Physics or Tony, both of those accounts are mine. And just ask me for the Padawan role, which is after Star Wars.
Okay.
And once you
just got brownie points with Travis right there.
You know, scoring bad points with Travis now.
Right there in the end.
Every once in a while, every once in a while, I have a guest mentor that comes through who's generally better at the game than I am, and they actually have the Jedi role. So. So
you got to get Trav part of this team. This is speaking in Star Wars soul right now.
So every Wednesday or Thursday, I ping the Padawan role in the Discord, ask who wants to participate in Community Customs for Sunday. I pick 6. Everybody's there at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then I stream it, and then we just go through each of the 6. And
what's your role then? Are you Jedi Master? What's the?
Well, you know, like, I'm still a Jedi,
just still
but I don't actually have it. I'm just physics. You know, and I'm the professor.
So the Jedi metaphor really just falls off. at the end.
You need to be on the Jedi Council or something. You need to be.
Yeah,
part
we
of
need a
it.
Jedi Council. I want there to be a full
True
hierarchy
enough,
here. You
True
know.
enough. In the end, the Discord and my theme follows illPhysics and physics and science. More than anything else. So my role is the professor role, right?
Got it.
The Jedi role, the Star Wars, that incorporation is kind of like a subset of that. A subset of that.
Okay. I see
Well,
what
you
mean.
could
I
be
see
the
what you mean.
Jedi. If your others, do the others come in as Jedi Master or just Jedi?
They come in as Jedi, just Jedi.
Oh,
just
so
Jedi.
is there a Jedi Master, Travis? Is that a thing? Versus
I mean,
a Jedi?
the thing
Yeah.
is, a lot of the people that are Jedi are better than me at the game. So I mean,
Well, that's
I
why
wouldn't be a
you could be
master,
Jedi. They could be Jedi Master, and then the Jedis are learning from the
that's-
Padawan.
That's
Yeah.
actually totally fine, illPhysics, because lots of Jedi Knights are better than Jedi Masters. It's really just a bureaucracy if we're going to really get into it.
It's all
You know,
about the
it's a-
politics
there's a whole,
now.
There's a whole
There we
sect
go.
of Jedi Masters. It's really political. And then if we want to talk about the Jedi Council, getting on that is like basically like you're a politician at that point. So
Here we go.
Got you. Understood.
We almost made it through. Almost.
Almost.
yeah, almost made it through without me talking about Fast and Furious, Star Wars. And
Wars.
somehow I was talking about My Little Pony. I didn't expect
Hey,
that
we
to come up
family in
during
here.
this
We
episode.
family. We family. Okay.
Yeah, we got it all.
Well, Travis,
That's the content.
No doubt, brother.
Travis, do you have a happier review in your future? I hope.
I think so. Yeah, I'm reviewing a game that I can't remember the name of because I just got assigned it like 20 minutes before this podcast. But yeah, I'm reviewing a new game on Steam that probably will be done. It'll be after next week because I blacked out next week to play Halo Infinite campaign. I already told them
Yep.
not doing it. I'll give me some time off. This weekend though, I'm previewing a game that I can't talk about. I just remembered. Sorry.
Stay
but
tuned.
I'm previewing a game that
NBA,
Unfortunately,
be careful.
that will be live on Wednesday. It is an IGN exclusive, a game that's still in alpha. No gameplay has been shown of it yet, so we're breaking the gameplay
Fire.
debut there, which will be cool. And then I've got a review coming up down the road after I'm done playing Halo Infinite until my eyes bleed, and then you can watch me every Sunday. I do a show called Bitcast where we talk about general video game news. A guy named Ains is there. He's an industry vet. And then we also have a man who answers the question, what would a trailer park look like if it were a person? So yeah, we've got, it's quite a good roster.
Dan was going to get
there
the smoke. I knew
on
Dan was going to
the, yeah. So yeah, you can watch me there, watch my articles, reviews and previews on IGN.com, and follow me on Twitter at TyGuyTravis if you care about the stupid things I talk about on that Twitter thing. How about you, Cog? Where can people find you?
Yeah,
Your
which
lovely
low key
body.
podcast are you on, sir? Nothing major, right?
Before we do that, man, salute illPhysics back at the campfire, man. This is always a pleasure when he comes. I love his
Seriously,
perspective.
Please hit me up anytime. I love being here. This is a worthy use of my time, and we don't get to catch up, outside. We all working so much, so this is a great time to mix it up in a very casual format and just share some thoughts. So it's beautiful being here, and I truly appreciate the invite. Truly.
Yeah, much love. I
Means
love
a lot,
these type
sir.
of
Thank you,
discussions. Yeah, love these type of discussions, the intellectual talk, and it's just fun. It's just fun, and the passion, because all of us here are busy. We all do a ton of things, and it's just fun to get together, campfire, and talk about it. I go front. Like, I'm excited again. I'm excited to get back into Destiny again. I have my little vacation, kind of like physics now. I got to, dip my foot in, see what's going on with this 30th, what's going on. So, but yeah, with me, you already know, at Lord Cognito on Twitter, all that good stuff. Defining Duke, please support that if you can. Me and Maddie been trying to kill it with the episodes and kind of unique takes on the gaming industry and what's going on with Xbox. Iron Lord's podcast every Sunday, the Lord's Day, 11 a.m. We will have Asa journalist from GameOnDaily.com. Really good guy from overseas. He's putting out great content, so we'll have him in the realm and check him out. And hit that like button, y'all. It's a good show today. Hit that like button in the campfire. We're putting out some good content, man. It's real fun, man. So I enjoy doing it. And what's going on with you? And I just want to pray for you for February. All your favorite games come out in February, and I just want to pray for you and with all the tough decisions you're gonna have to make.
I'm so sad about that time because seriously, I've been looking forward to Horizon Zero Dawn. I got the monitor and okay, I'm gonna play Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. I wanted to look gorgeous. And then now Horizon Zero Dawn comes out 4 days before Destiny. I don't want to like not sleep enough to finish that game and do it justice, like 50 hours in a weekend. So then I'm like, well, crap, then that's going to be pushed off a little bit. Elden Ring is 3 days, which is almost higher than Horizon at this point because it's insane. And that one, you know, you're going to be playing Destiny. You know, you're going to be
that
leveling
time
up.
frame is going to be nuts.
You're going to
my
be
God.
Yeah,
Yes,
like you
bro.
got to
Ain't
level
nobody
up, get
sleeping.
ready for
Ain't
the
nobody
raid,
working.
all that stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, but I want to be part of like Elden Ring when it's fresh.
Be
I
part
don't.
of the discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Horizon.
I
I'm
know.
just gonna miss, but it's a story, and I'll get to it when I get to it. But I was like, I'll play that if I ever get some down. But Elden Ring is one of
Yeah.
those like it's.
There's moments. There's moments in games. It's like playing Pokemon Go now versus the summer it came out. Like there's moments.
That's the
where you-
extreme
Yeah.
example because
Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah.
be part of the zeitgeist, man. Gotta be
Yeah.
part of it.
So it's like we will be drinking lots of advanced GG focus. Use code Ebontis for me. We got what is yours? Physics? What is your code?
Yep. It's physics. Yep.
Physics. Okay, that's what I thought. Yep.
No
Use
doubt.
code physics for Tony.
Mhm.
I will probably be living on a little bit of that, probably more than I should, trying to sleep when I
Ooh.
can.
What's going on? Why you like this?
No, I'm saying in February because there's not enough time
February,
to play
yeah,
all the
yeah,
games.
February,
Yeah.
There's really
Yes, yes,
not.
yes, yes,
There's really
yes.
not.
But other than that, yeah, it's like now that I got my monitor and you know we're gonna see what happens on Tuesday. I want to see if I can knock out Ratchet and Clank before. I don't
Nice.
think it's gonna be
Yeah.
that long, but I was like, I've been waiting to see as pretty as that
Get it
thing's gonna
done.
look. But then it's like Death Stranding, Horizon on PC, Guardians. Like I got some other stuff in my backlog now, and we got a good time for it. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is setting that stuff up and streaming that variety things while still kind of working on Destiny in the background. But I mean, we're gonna have some stuff to do, but it's not gonna be as big as people I think because it's a lot of ornaments, it's a dungeon and weapon, but it's you're gonna run out and kind of get back to the usual. So we will see. But I mean, lots of TV shows to watch as well, and I can't keep up with all that. I don't know how some people can play all the games they do and then
watch all the
somehow
shows,
watch all the
yeah.
shows that they do.
Yeah.
I have like friends. They're like, "Have you watched this? No. Have you watched? No." Like,
I just now started
No.
Squid Games. Just now.
I just finished it, Cog. I was right there with you. Like I'm so behind on
late
shows
on
because
everything.
who has
Yeah.
time for shows,
Episode-
dude?
oh,
Unless my
I would
hands-
see references on Twitter, Trav, and I didn't know
Yeah.
what people would talk about. And
No.
I'm like, oh, this is why they was dressed up like this. This is what
Yeah.
this means. Like
Yeah.
it was.
No, it definitely lives up to it. But my rule is, unless my hands are busy, like I'm eating something, I'm not watching the show. I'm playing a video game. Like,
playing a
I'm
game.
not gonna. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
There's
that one.
specific
Yeah, when you
rules.
watch episode 6, give me a buzz because
I'm on
yeah.
3. I'm on 3. They wilding right now.
Yeah, let me know when you finish 6, and
Okay.
just send me a text. I don't care the hour.
I got
Just
you,
I want
got
your true feelings after 6.
you. Okay.
But yeah, you guys know where to find me if you guys do enjoy the shows. As they've said, like the podcast if you're in here live listening. If you guys are made it this far in, if you listen to us on iTunes, listen to us on Spotify, if you listen to us anywhere, video or audio, please drop the reviews, give the likes, whether it's on Iron Lord's podcast channel. If you go to lordsofgaming.net, go find
up?
Travis's review and just
Yes.
leave a fun comment for Nerf. But I don't suggest you play it.
don't buy the game.
Don't buy the
Do
game.
not buy it. Don't play that.
But
game.
see if you can
You
come
will
up with a
regret all
funny
your
Nerf
decisions.
comment and see how well you can do there. And please, please go find this man, Physics, Tony. Hang out in his community, see what his community is like. Hang out in his Twitch streams. Go join his Discord. Anything you can. It's a good place to be, and it's a positive
I appreciate
atmosphere,
it.
so you cannot go wrong hanging out with this man.
I appreciate it.
For
I
the
do get a
record,
little spicy. I do get a little spicy in
Hey,
competitive
it's
love
matches.
okay. Hey, we
Just
like the
so-
spice.
love it.
Spice is good.
Love it.
I get a little
Spice.
spicy, but I'm just saying.
I live
in
for
the
the
end,
spice.
it's all
Yeah.
love, sportsmanship, and just trying to improve myself and share that with my community. So
no
definitely.
doubt. And
Absolutely.
for the record, last word received the buff with the glasses today. I'm just telling you. I see the energy. It's fire, y'all. We buffed. I'm telling you, we got a buff this week. I'm telling y'all, man. Glasses is the goal.
Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's what we do. These are blue light glasses, but yeah. My vision's not perfect. It's like what, 20/35. So it's like I go from like I can see mostly fine. It's like, or if I want to see high def, that's like my
Oh,
difference.
you and Travis on fire. I'm telling y'all. Podcast next level, y'all.
Well, thank you guys very much, everybody in chat. You guys have been absolutely fire. Tony, sir, again, thank you. Travis, of course,
My
love to
pleasure.
have you here. And Cog, my co-host who started Flashpoint, somebody's like, there's been 2 phases. And they were like, pre-Travis and post-Travis. And I was like, there was 3 because we were Flashpoint before we were ever on the campfire. So
shout out to Scarrow for letting us get the name.
yeah, no, I get, yeah, absolutely.
They go to court.
We had to get that copyright approval, and we still have MSNBC who could come down on us, but hopefully that doesn't happen either. But
We don't know
we're
about that.
different aspects. in here.
We'll bring Hoglaw for the episode. We'll say
You have to pay Scarrow royalties. Is that part of the deal here? Is it
get the royalties.
Yeah, when I order my advanced GG, I use code SCARE. No.
That's his royalty.
We use the last word. Salute Scarrow.
Yeah.
That's a good dude.
No. Thank you guys so much for this episode, number 175, December 2nd, as we wrap up 2021. We are almost done. No.
Yes.
No. Put the hands down. Put them down. No. This is not a thing. You can have your longest running segment. You can't have this one. If you aren't watching the video, you have no idea what we're talking about. But anyways, as we wrap this one up, thank you guys very much. This episode, it has been the last word.
The last word.